Oh no, we're broadcasting.
Oh dear, terrifying.
Oh no.
The horror
I don't know if
broadcast.
it's actually working because it's just like, oh no, there's errors everywhere.
We'll find out in a minute when it pops up on here.
Oh no, it's starting soon. Quick, refresh it.
Oh, we'll do. Refresh.
We're possibly.
You may be viewing this and thinking, what are these idiots up to?
Yeah, we come here to watch something and there's like three geezers just talking to themselves, wondering if they're actually on the internet.
Yeah, but no, here we are. Right.
Well, what? Starting soon. What?
Give it a chance.
No, I'm not going to give it a chance. This is a Google service. Get it sorted, guys. A minute ago, that
Something's
just
happening.
Oh, no, we're there.
Oh, finally, because I was going to say, that thing just shouted at me and said there was something wrong, and Internet Explorer wouldn't even load it.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Nicholas Jackson.
I'm Luke Roberts.
And I'm Adam Thorne.
And welcome to episode 12, live stream number 2 of the Rand Nerds podcast. Yeah. Oh, the enthusiasm.
Well, it is. I'm just panicking now because every internet browser I've got is just like, it doesn't work. It doesn't.
No, it wasn't anyone. It's Internet Explorer, which is a Microsoft product, which is why it doesn't work.
No, that didn't work at all. That was just stupid. But even Chrome started giving me a hissy fit, and I was like, don't start telling me to install Firefox now.
Don't you let me down now, Chrome. Years I've trusted you. For years I've trusted you. Don't you betray me now, bitch.
Do you hear that, Google? Someone says they trust you.
Well, you don't. As we've discovered this month.
A lot of people seem to trust Google. Probably not a good idea.
No, they are going to become, Michael was 1984.
Who did we find out that guy was?
We'll come to that section later.
Oh, okay. So
That'll be flashback later. Shall we go on?
Yeah, go for it, mate.
Right, so, games we've been playing. I'm going to want Adam to start with this, as he's got an essay on the subject.
Wow, I get to start games we've been playing. That makes a change. I thought you'd want to talk about Bioshock.
Yeah, we do. We'll talk about Bioshock, but then you start first.
I want to start me. Okay. Right, games I've been playing at the moment. The main game, only real game I've been playing, well, this last couple of weeks, is Dynasty Warriors 8 Extreme Legends, the complete edition, for PC.
Question. I know you're probably going to go into this, but why is it complete?
Right, it's complete because it's Dynasty Warriors 8 complete with Extreme Legends, where you normally get Extreme Legends separately. And I believe
normally
on the PS3 it is a separate game, but on the PC and on the PS4 you get them bundled together, and on the PS Vita as well. There's a PS Vita version, but graphically it's inferior and frame rate wise it's inferior, but still quite an achievement to get a game this big on the Vita. This version I got through Steam. It's a Steam version of the game.
How much is it going for at the moment?
It is £40 at the moment. It's $39.99.
That's a new release then?
It is a new release, yeah. It's the second Dynasty Warriors game to come out on PC. The other one being Dynasty Warriors 6, which was the first PS3, Xbox 360 Dynasty Warriors.
Oh wow, that's why I've never played it.
Right, yeah, it came out quite early in the PS3's life. I have played 6. 7 is the only one I haven't played, excluding the Empires games. I haven't played any of the Empires games. I only played 6 briefly. I only played 5 briefly. The last one I played properly was 4. But I sunk so many hours into Dynasty Warriors 3 and 4. So coming back has been quite nice because it's been a long time since I played a Dynasty Warriors game. I thought, I'll chance it. This looks good. I'll pick it up. Picked it up. I definitely was not disappointed. There is a hell of a lot of stuff packed into this game. For your £40, as I said, you are getting Dynasty Warriors 8. You're also getting Extreme Legends, which adds 5 new characters, and it also adds a campaign for Lu Bu. So you get to go through a specific story mode that centers around Lu Bu, who anyone who plays Dynasty Warriors will know is the crazy dude on Hulao Gate, who will kill you if you go anywhere near him unless you're ridiculously high level.
I can remember one time we actually did like power level and we were like, yeah, we're ready to take him on, and also this
3 hits, you're down,
Okay, let's run this way. And
can I just ask, what is Dynasty Warriors?
Right, yeah, should have really run you through that. Okay, it's based on
should have realised you weren't cultured enough.
It's based on a famous Chinese novel, Romance of the Three Kingdoms, one of the big 4 Chinese historical novels. Romance of the Three Kingdoms itself is a dramatization of actual history. So it takes the story of Liu Bei, Cao Cao, and the Sun family and their 3 kingdoms of Wu, Wei, and Shu, warring against one another, which actually happened, and basically turns it into Chinese medieval feudal EastEnders.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, isn't it?
Pretty much. And Dynasty Warriors takes it to the next level by
Just got a
making
vision
it.
of the sort of Emperor walking, going, "What's going on here? Get away, you slag!"
Yeah, that is literally how it happens.
I could see Lu Bu doing that actually. Yeah, Lu Bu would be like, "Oi, come and have a go if you think you're hard enough."
Is there a version of the Queen Vic in there somewhere?
I would imagine so. But yeah, the game takes it even further. It's very flamboyant. A lot of the characters are very over the top. One thing I have noticed, I'll put a big plus in on this one, is the costume designs for the characters, because they are some of the most over the top costumes I have ever seen. I haven't seen outfits quite this detailed since The Witcher 2. If anyone playing The Witcher 2 notices that all the texture details in The Witcher 2 are fantastic, like all the clothes look marvellous. I don't know why I'm going into this, but yeah, all the outfits on the characters are really well done and really over the top. There are lots of characters in these games, as there are in the novels. You've got, I don't know how many, I came to 21 in the biggest kingdom, which is Shu.
It used to be something like you'd have about 15 to 18.
It did, yeah.
Even in the older games.
Yeah, you had a lot of generals in the older games, yeah, but this one takes it even further. All the kingdoms, there's 4 kingdoms now. You've got Wei, Wu, and Shu, and then you've got the kingdom of Jin, which is a continuation of Wei. But the later years, anyone who's played the other Dynasty Warriors games or knows anything about Romance of the Three Kingdoms will know that Cao Cao's main advisor was Sima Yi, and Sima Yi's family take over the Wei Kingdom, and the Jin storyline basically follows that happening. Yeah, so you've got those 4 kingdoms and now Lu Bu. You've got a story mode to play through, which is absolutely brilliant. It's a lengthy campaign, but unlike the other games, the actual levels themselves aren't as big. Well, they're still quite large scale, but if you remember going back to Dynasty Warriors 2, they took forever. It took a long time to slog through a level, didn't it? How they've sort of made it easier is your basic fodder enemies, because the game itself is like a how would we best describe it? It's sort of like a
It's a mad
it is a hack and slash action game based around objectives. There are other warriors fighting on your side and against you, and then you've got sort of fodder characters running around, just like basic level soldiers.
Soldiers.
Yeah.
Each general will have bodyguards that are a little like a step up from the cannon fodder soldiers, and there will literally be thousands of these little pieces on the map.
You've got little sub-boss guys, then you've got the other generals that are on par with you, and
the fodder guys won't put up a fight at all. I mean, they might be able to like stab you once if you stand there wide open for
the AI is slightly better in this one, but it's still pretty naff. They still can't really do much. But this time they die quicker, which is good.
I don't ever remember it being too much for a
Yeah, now they die really quickly, and some of the sub-generals die a bit quicker as well. The only ones that are really going to give you problems, at least on the normal difficulty and the hard difficulty, are the other proper generals that you're going to run into some of the other kingdoms. But yeah, the story mode's really good. You've now got 2 routes you can take to a story. So, for example, if you were playing as the Kingdom of Shu, you could take the historical route, which will take you through a sort of generalization of the actual history of the kingdom as per the novel, or you can take the hypothetical route, which means if you meet certain challenges and missions, you get little star objectives, and you don't know what they actually are until you finish, say, the historical campaign. Then you might go back and you can check each level individually, and it'll tell you what your objectives are in the levels. If you meet these objectives, about halfway through the story campaign, you'll unlock the hypothetical route, which means that the game will change to have an ending that benefits that kingdom. So, for example, with Shu, anyone who knows the history will know that the 3 brothers don't meet their oath to die on the very same day. They end up dying within the same year, I think it is. And
pretty much.
And
Wait,
yeah,
was it the same year?
It was the same year. Yeah.
One of them lived on a fair bit.
Liu Bei lived on like a couple of months longer. Zhang Fei was killed by his own generals because he treated them like shit, apparently. So they turned on him and killed him. Guan Yu was killed by Wu, the Wu generals, because Wu had given Shu one of the parts, I can't think of the name of the exact place, I think it's Jing. They've given them Jing so that Liu Bei could set up a power base. But when Liu Bei had a bigger power base, Guan Yu was like, we're not giving it back. I'm staying here, you're not having it back. So Wu got a little bit pissed off of this, rightly so, I think. They went in and killed Guan Yu, and yeah. Although I do love Guan Yu, he is an awesome character. But yeah, they went in and killed him. Then Liu Bei died shortly after from illness a few months later, I think. But in the hypothetical mode, I won't ruin it for you. Not that you really can ruin it in the Dynasty Warriors games, but things go a bit more to their liking. It's like you're going to have less bad stuff happening within the kingdom that you're playing as.
I was going to say, last one I played was 5 Empires, and so I didn't get to see the story in 5, because although there's like a million Dynasty Warriors games, a lot of people say, oh, it's just the same game over and over again. Every single version has told the story differently.
It does. It changes it up a little bit. I mean, I know in Romance of the Three Kingdoms, for example, the novel, there's a character called Wei Yan, who historically isn't really a traitor, but he did get killed for messing up a couple of times. But in the novel, he's made into a proper nasty traitor character and assassinated by Ma Dai on order from Zhuge Liang, which is the strategist for the Shu Kingdom. In one of the games, you can actually make him a traitor. I think it's Dynasty Warriors 4. He can turn to Wei right near the end of the game. In 8, in contrast, he's actually really loyal. He gets a bit annoyed that people, because he's sort of portrayed in the games as a wild man, if you remember. He can't speak very well. He sort of speaks broken English, and he's like a tribal-looking guy.
Is that the guy that,
he wears a mask, and he's a bit like... He's kind of like
Tarzan.
Tarzan crossed with Rey Mysterio, pretty much.
He was always a hard man.
Yeah, he still is. He's a very good character. But in this one, he's gets annoyed at the fact that people don't always think that he's loyal because he's a bit dim and he's sort of really wild and he charges off into battle and just fights things without being told what to do against like the general's orders. So there's a bit of a difference there, and some of the other characters have similar differences. So yeah, it does change it up a bit. This one changes up the gameplay a lot. There's a lot of extra things in here. As you were saying about empires, you have an empire mode in this one.
Which is basically you'd have to capture the entire map.
Yeah.
Not a map as in a stage, but
it's kind of like Defender of the Crown. Do you remember Defender of the Crown? Very classic
not off the top of my head.
game. Okay, it was basically a game set in England, and you had the English map. And you basically conquered sections of England.
Yeah, and then eventually
Nobunaga's Ambition, that's another game similar. And there was a Genghis Khan one as well, I think. I think they were made by Koei, actually. The same people, the Nobunaga game and the Genghis Khan one. Yeah, but it's just, conquering sectors of each kingdom, growing in power, like a strategy kind of game, really. You've got a mode like that, so that's pretty cool. There's lots of new things in battle now. You've got siege weapons, which you can now take control of, which is interesting. So you can take manual control of catapults and like battering rams and all sorts of other things. I'm trying to think what else. Other extra things we had in the game now. Jot it all down here. We've got a rage meter now, which is pretty cool. If you remember, you have Mushu attacks, which are your special attacks, which mean you can do a hell of a lot of damage to a general and anyone surrounding them. Great fun because you send people flying for miles, and in this game there's a lot of people on screen at once, so you can send hordes of enemies flying up into the air and whatnot. Now you've got a rage meter. The rage meter makes you move faster. It gives you an extra Mushu attack, a stronger one, while you're in rage mode, and you do a lot more damage while in rage mode. So again, it's another way of pretty much speeding up the levels. If you're having to slog through part of a level, you're getting a bit annoyed with a general, you can just whack rage mode on and hack through them. Sort of builds up over time as you're fighting enemies, and once you've used it, it goes all the way down, have to build it up again. Pretty similar to the old Mushu meter. You got more heroes in this one. Each kingdom has quite a few more. The Jin Kingdom, I think they came into it in 7, so they're not quite new, but relatively speaking they are. So all the characters in that kingdom are near enough new. You've got a lot of new battles as well. I haven't seen half of them, I don't think. I've finished Shu's campaign, part way through Wu's, and a little way through Wei's, and I still think I've got quite a few levels to see. So yeah, plenty on offer there. What else have I got jotted down here? Oh yeah, the music and the voice acting. one thing about the old Dynasty Warriors games is the voice acting was really ropey. There was some, I mean, in a way it's kind of charming because it was so bad it was good, and it did make it feel more like ancient Chinese EastEnders. But now they've got some proper decent voice actors in. I can't think of any of the names off my head, but I recognise a lot of the voices from sort of bigger games and.
Phil Mitro, Peggy.
Yes.
Is the music still good?
The music's
Like,
brilliant. Like you still have the
solos.
mad guitar solos, but they've mixed it up a bit now. There's lots of ancient Chinese music mixed into the guitar solos and stuff, which sounds
they did that with,
amazing.
Warcry.
Yeah, it's even better now. Trust me, the music in this game is fantastic. It's got a very good soundtrack.
This is one of my favourite things about the Dynasty Warriors series. I actually have the soundtrack.
Yeah, it's got a lot more variety now. I mean, there's obviously a lot of it is still guitar riffs and that kind of thing, but it sounds a lot more epic now. Like lots more oomph to it. Yeah, you can save mid-battle, which I thought was quite nice, but also you get a separate save slot for each kingdom. So if you're, say, playing through as the Shu Kingdom, you reach a point where either you're getting bored or you're a bit stuck, and you think, oh, I just don't want to play as them anymore, but I still want to play the game. Just switch to another kingdom. You can save your progress in that one campaign and open another campaign, which I think is a really big positive, because if you're playing through a game and you get stuck,
Have they brought back the creative character mode they had in?
I haven't found it. I don't think there is one in this version.
So I'm pretty sure they did it in 5 as well.
Next had it, the one on the Vita. That's got creative character mode, but I don't think this one has. But you've got so many characters, you don't really need to.
Yeah,
I mean.
It's just when it comes to playing as characters that really drive me nuts that I just don't like. I just skip their stages out, and if I can create.
Well, you see, with this one, story mode you don't pick a character anymore. Story mode now takes place across various scenarios. Each scenario you will get a choice of between 3 to 5 characters.
Okay.
So it kind of forces you to play as different characters, which is good because it mixes things up a bit, stops things from becoming stale. But because you've got a bit of choice, it means you don't very often have to play as a character you don't like, unless you get to a stage and there's 5 characters and you happen to hate all of them. Then you're a bit screwed. It has happened to me once or twice, but there's no characters that are really bad in this one, I have to admit. I'm really quite astonished with how different they all play. I thought there would be characters that pretty much shadow each other in moves and style, but they did. They don't in this one. Every character plays vastly differently. There's some very cool moves you can pull off of some of the characters. It's really good, much better than the earlier versions. I'm trying to think of a specific character whose moves I like. Mentioned on here, my last comment, which reads, Huang Gai's weapon is now a boat. A fucking boat. I was that astonished by it. Huang Gai, who, as you remember, a boat is kind of symbolic for him because he was responsible for the fire attack on Chibi. He now carries a boat on his shoulder, like a small little rowboat thing, and uses it by swinging it around his head, throwing it down, surfing on it. Whenever he surfs, water follows behind him, so he gets like a wave, knocking guys down.
And this is based on historical events, you say?
This all happened.
It's all real. It all really happened.
When did we lose that technology to make boats that float on water, drown their own water in?
They create water. This boat creates water. Not only that, but he goes flying into the air and he can grab.
He's got a full cell.
It's all because we don't believe in magic, and we're not from ancient China. So,
no.
Right. That's where
I love it. I love it. I love it that
know?
That's in there. But I was just then about to say about the wind changing. They're very quick to point out in the game. They say, "Oh yes, he's fooling the peasants by changing the wind, but really he's just following the weather." It's like,
in all the other ones, they made up that was it Zhuge Liang.
Yeah.
He goes to the altar at
and he prays for the wind to pray,
like,
and it changes.
I can thank the gods, but what really happens is because he's a master strategist, he already knows.
He's quite a scientific chap. He's basically China's answer to Archimedes. He's really clever guy, knows the ins and outs of everything, a scholar, well read. So he knows about all this kind of stuff. And the peasants are all very ignorant and don't really understand a lot of what's going on. So he fools all the peasants into thinking that he's a magician.
I love the way they've had to say that in the game to stop people from. Is this? I guess, is something to kind of stop people from crying about it.
I don't think so. I think it's more for the character interaction, because there's a lot of character interaction in this game.
So what you're saying is a lot of people back in the day actually believed he was praying to the gods.
I reckon a lot of the peasants did, yeah. Probably the more educated lords and higher-born people wouldn't have. They'd have just scoffed at the idea. But yeah, oh yeah, there's probably...
Some of the players are like, oh, you're talking to the gods! It's like, no, he wasn't.
He summoned the wind.
So got another Dynasty Warriors fan.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Everyone loves Dynasty Warriors.
It's a great game, yeah, great series.
He agrees with you about your music. This is a chap called Benby Ran, who's actually our last podcast.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Hi again, dude.
Hi again. Yeah, he makes an interesting comment, which I think perfectly summarised what you said about your chap's music. He says he strives to fuse traditional instruments with electronic instruments and the techno beat of many of his compositions, wherein the match the musical themes of similar period whenever possible.
Brilliant.
That's far better than everything we could have come up with.
Very in depth, yeah. Excellent. Thank you for that. Yeah, we should, yeah.
We've been shamed, sorry.
So, yeah, goodbye. See you later, guys.
But yeah, no, the music is fantastic. I love it. It's got a great soundtrack. I've been actually listening to tunes on YouTube while I've been doing other things. So yeah, got so into it. But yeah, one guy in his boat. He now can do wrestling moves as well, while doing his surfing moves. It is brilliant. I love it. Waterboarding?
With his boat.
I'm just half expecting you to say he's going to start doing German suplexes on people whilst he's surfing along.
It's funny you should say that. That's pretty much how it goes. His move shoe is to grab a dude, swing him round, and pile drive him, and yeah, pretty much send people flying. They've all got crazy moves now. Cao Cao can freeze people. Just waves his hand, and they all freeze.
Historically accurate.
Yeah.
Have you never tried to do that? You never tried that?
Cao Cao's icy gaze.
You just suck,
Is one of the things I do find hilarious in this one is they've tried to anglicise the names in the older games, which made it translate better. I mean, for example, there's a character called, in the older games, he's called Taishi Si, and it works because in this one he's called Taishi Si, because they've basically tried to say it exactly as the Chinese would say it. And it's really weird because you've got these guys with American and English accents talking in American English accents, and then suddenly they mention a character's name or a specific Chinese place.
That sounds really cool.
And yeah, and you're just like, what? Where did that come from? Yeah.
Does it ruin the?
No. I don't think so, because
would it be better if they did a European pronunciation? Would that be?
If they kept it as it was, it would have been.
No, don't say it as it was, because it's still not the original translation.
Okay. If they kept it as it was in the older Dynasty Warriors games, it would have been. I think it would have been a little better, but because the game is so wild, over the top, and flamboyant, it doesn't matter. It kind of adds to it.
Speaking of flamboyant, I know you said that all of the kind of character outfits are really kind of.
Oh god, they're really detailed, yeah.
One of the things that actually I didn't actually play 6 because I saw what they did to Lu Bu's gear.
Lu Bu looks awesome in this one. Lu Bu wears like a full suit of armor practically. It's black and gold, and he still has his wild head dress that he used to wear in the older games, but he looks very cool now. Red hair has a matching. I think red hair changes depending on if Guan Yu is riding him or if Lu Bu is riding him, which I quite like. But when I noticed when Lu Bu's riding him, he has similar matching black plated armor bits on him, like Lu Bu's outfit. Yeah, Lu Bu looks good now. Lu Bu, his weapon changed as well, didn't it, in one of the games? I think it's 6.
6, it was 6.
He got that weird pinwheel thing.
Yeah.
Well, in one of the new characters is Lu Bu's daughter, and she's inherited that weapon. She's got the pinwheel-like weapon, and Lu Bu is back to wielding his halberd, which is good. Yeah, a few of the characters have different weapons. Gan Ling now has a flail and a mace. He used to just have a sword, didn't he? Trying to think, who else is different? I know they changed Ma Chao's, which I was really gutted with in 6. They gave him a gigantic sword. It's like, no, Ma Chao was always a cavalry general. He should always have a spear, and he's gone back to having a spear, so I'm quite chuffed with that. Yeah, there's a few different weapons. Most of the weapons, they're not so similar anymore. I mean, as I was saying, the movesets were similar. They've all got... each kingdom has an archer, I noticed now, because Wei has Xiahou Yuan, Shu has Xuanzong, and Wu have a new character. I can't think of his name, but yeah, each character's got an archer. They tend to have sort of similar traits. Yeah, it is a fantastic game. Trying to see if I've added anything else here.
I'll just pick up the series.
Question come up. Someone saying, "Can we ask our names?" The guy on the right, which be you.
Yes.
is quite loud and the others can't hear well.
Oh, okay. I shall move back a bit or move forward a bit.
Sorry about that. I'm Nicholas Jackson.
I'm Adam Thorne.
And this is...
I'm the sound guy.
His real name is Luke Roberts.
No, I have to mention, if the audio is a bit screwed up tonight, that is completely my fault, because I am totally out of it. Like, I've just managed to capture some kind of play.
I'm probably
like 4
talking
hours.
a bit fast as well, because I'm trying to fit so much of this.
Well, no, it's because the reason you were so loud is because I had to up your mic gain, because you kept on moving back away from the microphone. I know you don't like Linford Christie bit in your face, you know, but I had to up your mic, and then you started getting closer. I was like, oh, I can't be bothered with this anymore.
Close enough.
This is the dedication of our sound engineer.
Well, let's put it this way. I was so out of it, I remembered to start the stream, and then was so concerned about starting the stream, I completely forgot to hit record on the recorder, so I'm going to have to mix it all in together anyway.
Right, okay, that's good.
Excellent. Forgot to mention this, talking about weapons, you can now equip 2. And they're not restricted to character anymore. Each character has their own specific type of weapon and style, but you can switch in a second weapon, and it can be any weapon, any character's weapon. So you can mix and match. You can do linked combos with them in battle. You have a change weapon button. If you activate it mid-combo, you'll execute a special combo move. And I believe they're different for each weapon as well. So depending on your weapon mixes, you get different things happen, which is pretty cool. What else have I added?
Have I fixed the audio yet? Probably not.
We'll find out in a minute.
I've just dropped it back to where it was when we initially started. But the trouble is the levels are so deceiving. The levels over there are completely different to the levels on...
I think we learned from last time the levels in that one are more accurate than the levels in that one.
Yeah, exactly. When I had Thorny turned up, that was barely up any higher than what we were to start with.
It's obviously a very fine line.
I think I've
I'm
summed
sure
up
we'll be
most
told
of
if it's all wrong.
I think I've summed up most
no
of
one's
what we're
watching, so
talking about here.
We've got 4 watchers.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, I was about to say, well, it's all crap anyway, no one's watching, so it doesn't matter. But now it's like, I apologise.
There's 4 people watching us.
I apologise.
Technically, one of them is us.
I will try harder to make this not suck. Or I won't.
He won't promise.
You've lost
he will,
already.
But he'll promise he'll try. He'll try.
Yeah, I'll think about it maybe whilst I'm drinking my cup of tea.
Yeah.
Good.
So all in,
was?
good game.
Yeah, all in all, that pretty much sums up what I had to say.
Worth the money?
Easily. The amount of content you get here is massive. I mean, as I said, you get your story mode, you've got your free modes, you can play any level when you like. This new ambition mode, which is like Empires, but a bit more detailed. I haven't really gone into it too much yet, but it seems to involve, you get a temple, you have to build it up to get the Emperor on your side.
Okay.
And once you've built the temple up to get the Emperor, then it unlocks Empires. So that's what I've read about it. I haven't had enough time to really go into it yet. I've been more going through the story mode itself.
Okay.
But I've barely scratched the surface with this game.
I was going to say, Dynasty Warriors games have always been pretty massive.
I sat there thinking, can I play them like I used to? Will I get tired of it as I'm an older gamer now? Whereas I used to be able to sink hours into doing the same missions.
I mean, we used to like grind characters up for like, so we'd be like, oh yeah, we've now maxed out that character.
I'm one of these few people that had every single character in Dynasty Warriors 3 at near enough max level.
I did that with 2.
Yeah, it's like, crazy to go back and think of. But yeah, I haven't got bored of this yet, and I've been playing it solidly. I haven't touched another game since I picked it up. So
I mean, in fairness, I think the soundtrack alone would justify the price.
Soundtrack,
to me.
yeah, and you're gonna love the soundtrack in this one. It is something special. It really is fantastic. They match the moods of the levels really well as well. I mean, I know I think it's, can't think of the name of the battle. There's a battle where Guan Yu, spoiler alert, dies. Not like you wouldn't have known it anyway. Haven't played the other games, but that one has a particularly nice piece of music that goes well with the whole, well, shit hit the fan situation that Shu was in, and I thought that's pretty cool. It was a bit different to sort of the music from the other games. Yeah. But yeah, definitely a game I'd recommend. Nice to see it's come to the PC. We need to see more games like this come to the PC, I think. I know Japan is a bit scared of the PC.
Well, you've got to think, though, the original Dynasty Warriors games, or, Romance of the Three Kingdoms games were PC titles.
Yeah,
so.
They were. Yeah, I think that we don't see enough on PC. One of the wonderful things I've noticed with Steam is we are seeing more Japanese games crop up on Steam. I haven't had a disappointing one yet. I've bought plenty of games from Japan on Steam, and they've all been really good. I mean, the East series been a good example there.
I started playing East Book 1 and 2 on Turbo Graphics.
I'd like to see these games do well, so we get more from Japan on Steam. It would be fantastic if we could. But yeah, got to tip my hat to Koei and Tecmo. Fantastic game. They've taken what could conceivably be a repetitive formula, improved upon it, and just made it fresh, and that's pretty good.
So I have a good game designer.
Yeah.
If you can do it for 8 games and not pull a Call of Duty, then you're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Marvellous. Well, are you going to go on to Bioshock?
Yes, why not?
So
Okay.
I'm likely to kill myself by the end of this, so then people don't have to hear me drivel on.
Okay. Mine. Alright, I'm going to try and be spoiler-free as possible, but
God,
it is hard to talk about making too many spoilers. So a minor spoiler alert, a yellow spoiler alert, not a red one, but a yellow one.
What's the difference between a yellow one and...
Red one means I'm going to tell you the main part. I'm going to tell you the main part of the story that's going to ruin the whole game for you. You're going to hate me. Yellow is I might hint at a few subtle things that, although won't ruin the game for you, but may annoy you slightly.
Red is the hero dies, turns out he's a cyborg, and he's also Jesus.
Yes, that's the red one.
Awesome.
That isn't actually.
I was going to say, so it's yellow then. I was
Bioshock.
going to say, is yellow then? It finishes at some point, but there might be another one if they can rinse some more money out of it.
To be fair, the way they see.
No, just go on, just go.
So Bioshock Bear at Sea number 2. I complained a bit about Bear at Sea number part 1. Oh, there's obviously the DLC for Bioshock Infinite. I complained about the part 1 because it was $11.99. You got about 3 hours of gameplay. This one same price, but you got a lot more in-depth gameplay as well.
4 hours of gameplay.
About 5.5 it took me, which for $11.99, okay, that's about. I'm happy with that. I can live with that. So it's
if they hadn't spent so long reducing the woman's breast size to please the feminists, they probably could have fit more in. But there you go.
It's set just straight after episode 1. You play as Elizabeth this time. That isn't a spoiler.
Okay,
that was well advertised.
That's the woman I just referred to. Yeah.
You play as Elizabeth this time, who's the female protagonist from Bioshock Infinite and Bear at Sea. And basically, they've put a bit of almost a stealth game to Bioshock. And usually, when they put stealth mechanics in to games, it's a bad sign. If a game was designed to be stealthy from the start, it's usually a bad sign. Bioshock, they've done quite a good job of it. You can do it's nice. You can do sneak attacks. You now have alert statuses over all your enemies, a bit like Dishonored, where they show you the alerts, so you can a bit like all Metal Gear.
Yeah.
You get to see how alerts they are noticing you, which makes it easy to sneak around. You've got new plasmid in there, which allows you to see through walls, see what enemies are, but it's very well balanced in that you only let you see them for a few seconds, and if you move it, you lose them. So you have to sort of and it does also use up energy, so you can't just keep spamming it.
Yeah.
You have to be very careful in time using it. You can upgrade it later on to allow you to, if you remain stationary, use it constantly. But a second you move, that's it. You lose it again. You have to then move and stay stationary again, which is quite good. It works quite well. So combat's obviously a lot more stealth based. You get the return of the crossbow from the original Bioshock, the original very first Bioshock. Now you've got tranquilizer darts in it, so you can knock people out if you want to.
Go back to Deus Ex.
Yes, but what's really good about it is that when you knock somebody out, there's a chance that the dart won't break, so you actually go back and pick it back up. Oh. So you don't run out.
Cool.
It's actually quite well thought out. They seem to have spent a bit of time thinking about it.
Good job. That's the only praise you'll get out of me.
Storyline, I can't really touch on the storyline without spoiling it, so I'm going to steer clear.
Is it any good in your opinion?
Oh yes.
Right, so that means I will probably hate it.
Yes, it will. You will hate it.
Will I enjoy it?
It finishes off the Bioshock Infinite storyline completely.
Right.
And it finishes it. It completes it. There's nowhere else for it to go once you finish this game. Okay? So, if you've not played Bioshock Infinite and Bear at Sea, play them first before you play Part 2.
So basically, play them in order.
We're horrible. Yes. We've just basically sat talking about a game that we love while Nick's had to sit and listen. Now he's talking about a game he likes. We're just like, it's awful.
We've already had
glad it's over.
podcasts of Bioshock Infinite and Burial at Sea.
Not.
This will be the third then.
No, this is the second.
Should we start talking about Thief?
You've already talked about piss off.
This is the second one. We'll get on to Thief later.
Yeah.
So yeah, very good. It's got some they've put in a mini game. But wait, the lockpicking minigame. But I know everyone thinks, oh no, not a lockpicking minigame. You hate lockpicking minigames.
That depends on the minigame.
It does, but usually they're shit. In most lock games, lockpicking minigames are crap. I give you Oblivion.
I hate to say it.
I can't remember.
Thief 3 had a good lockpicking.
That did actually. But what this is, you can't actually, when you're picking the lock, you will always pick the lock. You can't actually fail at it directly. You can't not pick the lock. What happens though is, there's like tumblers that you'll pick moves over back and forth sort of semi-randomly.
Okay.
And there are 3 types. There's one which is like a white one, which if you hit it, unlocks the door. There's a blue one, which if you hit it, not just unlock the door, gives you a noisemaker arrow type thing. They don't call it noisemaker arrow. That's close from you calling it. They don't call it that. And there's a red one which will unlock the door but set an alarm off as well. So you always unlock the door. So because obviously some doors they use up lockpicks, so it's going to take 3 lockpicks. And you think if I mess this up, I can't do anything.
I'm cocky. I've run out of picks. I can't get through.
Basically, the honest you will always unlock it, but
so then the game gives you a master pick.
Oh yeah.
You may get an alarm.
A skeleton key.
Yes.
Yay.
So you may get an alarm come off for it.
You find that in a peasant's shoebox.
Yes.
So, just random.
Just random, yeah. So lockpicking minigame is very good.
It's definitely random. Peasants don't have shoes. Not in this game.
No. All I can say is it I don't know what else I could talk about really. It ties in to Bioshock's storyline as well, really in depth. It properly.
So it goes back to the first one.
Yeah.
So have they finally just right? Because I know you said they've tied off Infinite. Is it now all?
They've knitted the whole lot together. The whole lot joins together.
He's just making sure he can call them out when they reboot it.
Yeah. Because they will. And I'm waiting. 5, 4, 3.
It's not really Infinite.
There it is. They've now rebooted the game.
It's not really Infinite if it's finished, is it? It's like Final Fantasy.
No,
over
because
again.
there's a. They have
It's
that.
the last
There is an explanation behind why. Oh god, I'm about getting too in depth with the actual ending of
Final Fantasy Infinite. The end.
There is an explanation as to why it's infinite, but it sort of starts brushing on quantum theory.
I'm waiting for them to reboot.
It's an Ouroboros.
Don't know what to say about it. I mean, it's stuff. Well, as I said, stuff's great. Characterization of Elizabeth, it's.
I love that.
Trouble is, she was quite a pacifist character in the first 2, but she had to be pacifist to make it. They found that if they made her like an aggressive character, it put players off. So they made her quite pacifist in the first 2. Of course, this one she gets a lot more aggressive and has a gun.
Okay.
Any kind of thing. So
she has a gun. Dun, dun.
Oh my God, no!
She's no Red Sonja
really
then.
Well.
So the character doesn't feel like you've just kind of broken her neck, ripped her head off, and then stuck someone else's head on top. Like, Doom Guy has just had his head on top of his character.
You can feel there's
Doom
a reason.
Guy was a deep character, man.
Well,
he loved his rabbit.
I love Doom's story.
Okay, sorry.
What?
Sorry, someone just complained about the centre mic stand. Perhaps I'm sitting too close. I'll stand back a bit.
I like this. We've got technical crowd here. It's good.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. We've also got a question about Ramen and Mac in a second. So
all I'm going to say is, does anyone want to do my job right now? Because I'm like borderline crashing right now.
If you pay for the airplane ticket and fly over here, you need to get here pretty quick.
Yeah.
You've got like 10 minutes to get here.
You have to be really cynical, sarcastic, and hate absolutely everything, and you'll fit in. Yeah.
Congratulations.
I don't hate absolutely everything.
No, I mean,
that's why I don't do well in these podcasts. That's why I'm all joyous. I love this game.
Hey, we did get criticised once for being too negative.
We did get criticised for being too negative, but I've always been positive.
Nick's the Ghost of Christmas Present here. He's fine, but yeah. If we had someone, what I meant to say is we'd have someone that would replace Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We right now we really need it.
We could never replace you, Nick. Not in this day and age.
Any bugs we have, I'll work out for next time. I'm hoping that I can get my internet connection fixed, so we don't have to keep on using Hangouts on air.
Right.
So we can actually use a proper streaming setup. So I actually know by looking at the levels what I'm getting.
That they should call it Google Dropouts, really, shouldn't they?
Funny man, I'm full.
Oh, yes. I'll be here all night.
Anyway, Bioshock Infinite. Honestly, if you've got Bioshock Infinite, get Burial at Sea. Both parts. It really, it will finish off the series really nicely for you.
Cool.
I'm trying to think of any bad bits, but actually, I really enjoyed it. I can't think of anything bad bits to it.
It's a Bioshock game.
Yeah, it exists.
I like Bioshock, so I enjoyed it.
Awful series.
It's System Shock for babbies.
It's a different type of game. Does everyone be a different type of game?
I can't even remember how long I played in Bioshock. I think I only did the first boss in that game, so I ain't playing this shit anymore.
Luke, I found out why we've got you. This is why you're going to get trouble. One of the people who's watching us is actually an engineer.
Apologies. I just don't really care right now.
Apparently it's too high in height, not too loud. Sorry.
Okay, there's nothing we can do about it at the minute.
Because
the problem is, I haven't got any. What the hell was I then meant to say?
I don't know.
So there you go. I've completely flipped. But all right, see you guys.
Begbie Ram, you're hired.
There you go. And that's just we haven't got any.
We can't afford to pay you, but you're hired.
Yes.
Yeah, we haven't got any. What's it called? I've forgot what they're called, so it doesn't matter. So because we used to have them on actual mic stands, but then these two Muppets would always knock the mic stands. So I had to put the things away from their feet, away from their hands. Otherwise, I'd be sitting there going, right, I have to take that out, have to take that out, have to take that out. Can't handle this. So there you go. That's why everything sucks.
What we need is a little shirt mic. So
no, I am working on that. Or just a better mic, so I just cut off the stands and. What? I don't give a crap.
Perfect. Before we go on, we have been asked a question.
Okay.
But it's not about games. It says, I've changed around my Mac. Do you know if the warranty is still held? I don't know.
I couldn't honestly say.
I would have. Is RAM a consumer serviceable component?
Yeah, usually.
So
I think no. I don't think it has been since some of the older.
I think I'm going to repeat my answer last time you asked me a question about technology and hardware. I don't know.
I think before 2010, you might have got away with it. These days, probably not.
I would have thought probably not, because I think as soon as you have to unscrew something to get into it, that's usually once your warranty's void. A battery you can replace yourself because there's
in fairness, Apple's warranties suck a big one.
True.
They suck a Linford Christie. So, yeah, just saying, because they are just awful. We ain't going to repair it. We're just going to there you go, have a new one.
Poor Linford's going to be wondering what the hell he's got to do on microphones now. Like,
we could always pull a Shaq and endorse the mics.
Yeah, we should, yeah. Shaq mics, that'd be awesome.
Go off, Shaq.
Get one free with Shaq Fu.
Yeah, the new one.
Yeah.
Right, Luke.
Oh, right, here we go. I'm just going to try and remember now what I was playing before I start kind of dribbling over the microphone.
Oh, dear.
Right, so people are going to cry
but we are still there's still props behind Luke.
Yeah, like I am literally being like, seriously, if I lean too far forwards, I will just...
If you notice me sort of doing this, like, stand still, Luke, stand still.
Oh, God, no, the problem is...
We normally have him on strings for the podcast. It's like Thunderbirds in here most times.
But, oh, God. I just don't know where this plague came from. It's just, like, randomly hit me. That's what you get for having kids. So, if you really don't like getting sick all the time, don't have children, just saying. The little plague magnets. It's great. They only have to leave the house for 3 seconds and they're all dying. Horrible.
Oh, the joys of an undeveloped immune system.
Yeah. Yeah. Someone sneezes 5 miles away and they're on the floor. It's like, seriously? Then clearly I'm just dying because I pick up their plagues that I should have been immune to like 50 years ago. But either way, back on topic. So, anyone that knows retro gaming, retro NES, is going to go, oh no, seriously? I have recently played, again, Back to the Future on NES. The wonderful tie-in game that everyone hates. Anyone that's a fan of retro video game reviewers.
Yeah, the hatred really was spurred by Angry Video Game.
Yeah,
there,
James
wasn't it?
Rolfe.
Yeah.
And then, like, it was an easy target. Everyone was just like, right, he's done it, so I'm going to do it. And then
everyone hates on that game now.
And if I had to be honest, I don't think there's that much of a problem with it. But I'll get into that. So it's basically how it's 8-bit. How can you tell a story like Back to the Future on a really simple cartridge on a really simple platform? It's like saying, well, how can I like Pong being technically a tennis game, and now you've got like virtual tennis and all that kind of stuff.
I can't play Pong and be like looking at Anna Kournikova at the same time. What's going on? My dad won't be happy with that.
This just doesn't work. But basically.
Does she still play tennis? I don't know.
I have no idea. I don't even know what we were talking about.
You don't get the old Venus Sister screams in Pong, do you? That would be interesting. Although you did on the Mortal Kombat 3 version, near enough, now I think about it. If you remember that.
No, I don't.
Oh, the unlockable Pong game in Mortal Kombat 3.
Oh dear. I just remember this just reminded me of a beat 'em up where you could play volleyball with
Makes me
random
Dead or
character.
Alive instantly.
Yeah, good game. Good game. Especially when you play it with the Death Metal soundtrack. That's really good. Just saying, try it. Don't judge me. Yeah, so people rip Back to the Future for a ton of stuff. Right. They rip the music. Because it's like some kind of really repetitive...
Because it doesn't have Huey and Lewis and the News in it, that's why. If it did, that game would be awesome.
They say it sounds awful, the music's repetitive. There's only like 2 songs in the entire game, like Johnny Be Good and...
That just instantly made me think there needs to be an American Psycho game with a Huey Lewis soundtrack. That would be fantastic.
And then, what is it, Marty's wearing black rather than his red
limitations though, isn't it, on the...
Yeah, it was for contrast, wasn't it? And then there was rumours that because the original actor wore black before Michael J. Fox took over, then that's why they did it. But then,
do we know who the original actor was?
I can't remember some of the DVD extras, but that was complete horse because the game came out decades after, not literally, but, you know.
Right.
But everyone rips into the game. It doesn't seem like it has anything to do with the story of the film. So you're Marty, you're running down a street, you collect clocks, you end up at Lou's
you're avoiding
Cafe.
dudes carrying windows, aren't you?
Yeah,
across the street.
Most sort of time games at the time with films basically like that.
Yeah, but, well, that's the thing.
They still are, though, aren't they? A lot of movie time games are absolute trash, aren't they? They're just...
It doesn't help that it was done by LJ.
You do get the very good ones. You do get some good ones.
I think sometimes it does help if they actually say, okay, we're going to do the movie universe, but let's sort of try and keep away from the movie script, just say in the same universe, use as a backdrop. And perhaps even go the route of let's not actually use the main characters. I'm trying to think of a good example.
I do know a few good movie games, but none off the top of my head.
Well, there you go. That's how good they are.
Yeah.
But, no, I actually think it's quite...
a good example of doing exactly what Nick said is Chronicles of Riddick: Escape from Butcher Bay. I'm not even hugely into the Riddick films, but the game is fantastic. Yeah, wicked game.
Yeah, when you said about the guys with windows, you had to dodge what? Guys with windows, bees, hula hoop girls, and bullies, right?
If I remember correctly, did you get a bowling ball as a weapon?
Yeah, you can pick up a bowling ball and you've got a skateboard. But what I'm thinking of is, because everyone's like, oh, that's got nothing to do with the game, and you've got 2 ways of dying. You run out of time, or your family basically just kind of gets wiped from existence, right? Because obviously the whole point is you have to get your parents back together so that you're born, kind of thing. And so people...
I love the way you jump in the middle bit there.
Whatever. But,
people get together and you're born.
Yeah, there you go. That's how
the world works.
I'm not going to go into the details. We're grown up.
That would have been an interesting minigame, wouldn't it?
And someone's born.
Yeah, that's how it works.
That's sex ed.
There's your minigame that somebody would just hack Custer's Revenge into it, and you'd be sorted.
Oh God!
What a great game! What a great game! No, that's just not. But
I won't even link that in the show as Custer's Revenge because that is just wrong.
So people complain you have to collect clocks. Well, you need more time.
Well,
so that's kind of what that represents.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
But why are you dodging, class movers and bullies and hula hoop girls? This is the 50s. These things actually kind of fit into the environment.
People dodge those things all the time.
Well, no, but you have to be creative. You have to be creative with what's there.
It's very known that hooligans are very nasty things. They used to sharpen them and really.
Wasn't that the entire plot of Grease? Trying not to smash through windows while running down the road.
Yeah, pretty much. God, I hate that film. I'm thinking whatever. But I mean, they fit the setting. They haven't just randomly gone and said, right, aliens.
Yeah, true.
Or, giant turtles or something like that. They've actually tried to pick things from the people that you would actually have someone walking down, from wherever.
Oh, yeah, they could have just thrown anything in there, really, couldn't they?
Oh.
The demons.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's going to be the worst podcast ever.
It really is.
We're being attacked.
Oh, that's my boys.
Oh, dear. We are being attacked.
We're going to have special guests.
Now
shortly.
you're going to find out what happens when 2 people get together.
Yeah.
You're about to find the results.
Randomly, children spawn.
Yeah, what? Is that the stork knocking on the door?
When you say spawn, you mean they just sort of pop into existence somewhere.
That's how it works.
Oh, dear. Bye, Mr. Stork. We don't want.
And there's another child. Wow, best podcast ever. I'm not in this. I just can't be bothered. Right.
You didn't know the last one.
No, I know I didn't. I am so glad I didn't.
Oh, sorry.
Yes! Something's crashed. We've lost chat. Brilliant.
Yeah,
Nick, good job.
yeah.
Everything has now exploded. I knew this was a bad night.
It's gone to hell. See, it's because you're trying to talk positively about Back to the Future. The universe won't have it. It's like, no, Luke, you're not doing this.
That's why the kids have come through.
Your act of rebellion is being completely quashed.
Well, no, cause I think the other thing is a lot of people, like you said, they have a lot of bad feelings about it because it's an LJN game. Right?
Indeed. Forgive him, Odin. Forgive him.
Right.
He knows not what he says.
Angry Video Game Nerd has demonized every game by that publisher.
Well, LJN,
right?
yeah. Except for one, wasn't it Maximum Carnage that he enjoyed?
I have no idea. But the thing is, LJN 1 never developed a single game. They just published the damn things.
Yeah.
And 2, they never came out in the UK.
Yeah. I think he has to do that for character.
Well, no, it is
isn't
character.
It's
I
like,
mean, he's gone and said it. It is character,
Yeah.
but the game isn't that bad. Even the tunes, when you actually, apparently the tunes are just sped up. Really fast versions of stuff that appeared in the film.
Oh, okay. So maybe Huey Lewis in the News, isn't there?
So although you think it's a complete cock-up,
yeah,
there is kind of some kind of...
I'm still just thinking of 8-bit American Psycho. It would have been amazing.
It must be done. That just makes me think of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, yeah. A chainsaw scene was what I was thinking of as well. Dodging chainsaws as they're falling down the stairs. Like.
Good job.
Oh, shit.
Turn that off! Stop fucking up the podcast. There you go, I flipped now.
I don't think there's any saving it, man.
Bare Knuckle 3.
We're fine, we're here now.
We're here now. We can actually
talk to the fans again.
What fans?
There's free watching.
I had to pay these people to come here. By the way, it is the I'm pretty sure that anyone that knows what they're doing with anything to do with what we're talking about is probably crying or pulling their hairs out right now.
I don't care.
I don't know if they're watching us because they're enjoying the show or just for scientific study.
Yeah, bro, right. That's an idiot. That's a farmer.
Primitive man at its best.
Good job.
Me no like shit game.
This is a plague spreader. I mean, this guy's got the best way of explaining how children come to be.
Yeah,
I love that version. I so want them to be.
We have to make that into a T-shirt or a poster or something. I want to have that put on my wall somewhere.
Somebody create it. Someone can do Photoshop. Create that food.
Children just appear. I would do, but I would do it, but you'd probably get a stick figure right now, considering how I feel. But whatever. Bare Knuckle 3. Someone played Bare Knuckle 3 on the Sega Mega Drive.
I have played Bare Knuckle 3.
I'm going to completely give up trying to defend Back to the Future. I'm sure somewhere else has done already, but whatever. Bare Knuckle 3, basically Streets of Rage 3.
Yeah.
Main reason I started playing that again is because did you know the story is different in?
Yes. Yeah, we were discussing this before.
So, if you haven't played Streets of Rage, it's a side-scrolling beat 'em up.
Yeah.
Which is just a beat 'em up in the States, I think.
It is, yeah. They call them beat 'em ups and fighters, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a side-scrolling beat 'em up or a whatever it is for everyone else.
Scrolling beat 'em up, also known as, yeah.
And basically plays 3 cops or 3 ex-cops that have to take on a syndicate that is basically taking over the city.
Well, 2 ex-cops, a small boy on roller skates.
That's Streets of Rage 2 and a wrestler.
Yeah.
Well, in 2 as a professional wrestler, and then he gets.
Isn't Skates in 3 as well?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Although he's not Skate, is he? In Bare Knuckle, I can't remember. Sammy.
Is he? All right.
Yeah,
okay.
Sammy.
Have they all got different names in Bare Knuckle? No, just him.
Axel Blaze, Sammy, and so I guess Sammy didn't sound hardcore enough for a little black kid that beats the crap out of people with roller skates. But this little. It was because he breakdanced. He's
Adam's kid brother, isn't he?
Yeah.
From the first game. Yeah.
Disappears in
Streets of Rage 2. Yeah, he gets kidnapped, doesn't he?
So yeah, I got the stories confused of 2 and 3 when I actually played with Ben. I was like, hang on a minute. When did you start doing that? I thought you were. Oh, wrong game. There you go. But yeah, the story is kind of different. But in short, you have to kind of stop the syndicate from fucking up the city. And job done. I thought I was just going to mention all the different characters.
How do you stop the syndicate from fucking up the city? You punch clowns in the face. That's how you do it. Clowns who whip kangaroos.
So the main reason I'm
just
playing.
thinking I've really missed out this game.
Oh god, it's absolutely brilliant.
You get to play as a kangaroo if you beat the clown up quick enough.
Well,
hey, I'll be going.
I got into a bit of an argument recently about Bare Knuckle 3.
Okay.
Because in Streets of Rage 2, that's our nice censored version. There's like a what the hell is it? There are bombs going to go off, and the chief of police has been kidnapped in Streets of Rage 3, right?
Yeah.
And so you have to be like, oh no, we have to stop all the bombs from blowing up, and
then
have to go and
there's like robots and stuff, isn't there? Like,
and we have to do some stupid thing to make stuff happen.
We just have to beat the hell out of absolutely everybody we come across.
Like, see that random guy over there? fight him.
To
No
awesome
idea why.
hardcore dance music.
Yeah,
Yes.
just like walk into a club and beat the crap out of people. That's what happens. That's how it happens in real life too, by the way.
I'm not surprised that dude in Streets Race 2 wants to duff you up for smashing his butt a bit. So
Yeah, God, the first boss.
But Barbaz, isn't it, the first boss?
Yeah, good job. Because they had Electra as the first kind of mini.
Yeah, the chick with a whip, wasn't it?
Yeah, because she's in that as well. But it's heavily censored in the UK and in the States. So character sprites would change. Like Electra would always wear like a bikini kind of deal.
Yeah, sort of skimpy outfit.
Or like a corset. Whereas in our version, she was wearing jacket and jeans or whatever, and loads of other character animations changed.
I don't know if they worked on 3, but I know Ancient worked on 2, which is why it's such a good game and why the soundtrack is so good. They worked on Shenmue, the soundtrack to Shenmue, and they worked on Story of Thor. Yeah, but I'm not sure if they worked on 3. They might well have done. I just thought I'd throw that in there because they're a good company.
Random fact. Yeah. Good job. No, so the story's different. Nothing is explained in Streets of Rage 3. Bare Knuckle actually goes into the story.
It does explain it in Streets of Rage 3, just not greatly well. You do get little story bits.
Yeah, but that's not the story.
No.
That isn't the story. So, like, oh, I knew, like, so...
It doesn't make sense in Bare Knuckle.
They walk into a... Yeah, exactly. It actually makes sense. They walk into a bar, and all of a sudden, after you beat the crap out of these two people randomly in the bar... Blaze, one of the characters, is like, oh, I knew this place was connected to the Syndicate. It's like, no, you fucking didn't. And then they're like, oh, well, the chief of police has been kidnapped. It's like, so then why did you get his photograph attached to a letter at the start of the game?
No, Chief Wiggum's been kidnapped.
And it's like, but then when you actually play through Bare Knuckle and get the actual story, so they find a new element, it's refined into a weapon.
Okay.
Boom, takes out a big chunk of a city. That's where Dr. Zan comes in.
Right.
Not explained in Streets of Rage 3
he's
from
just
what
there
I remember.
randomly,
He's just
isn't
there.
he?
He's like, oh, he's an ex-Syndicate scientist.
Who happens to have robot bits.
It's like, why is he even there, and where did all this come from?
Why can't he use weapons? Why is he so rubbish?
And it turns out that all of the bombs that you're trying to defuse, they're not regular bombs. You're like, oh, well, it's just like a nail bomb or something there that's going to really fuck up a few people when they're standing nearby. No, it's a nuke. It's another
little
nuke.
mini nukes. Awesome.
Every single bomb you find in that game is a fucking nuke.
Cool.
The chief of police that's been kidnapped is actually a general.
Ah, okay.
So he has nothing to do with Axel. They're in Streets of Rage 3. They're trying to say that
Axel's being framed, isn't he?
Yeah.
So is the robot Axel still in it?
Yeah,
then?
the robot Axel is still there, but he's just there to cause Axel trouble.
Right. Okay.
See, whereas before they were saying, "Oh, we're going to replace members of Parliament and that with robot doppelgangers."
Yeah.
They don't. Shiva from Streets of Rage 2 goes in disguised as the general.
Okay.
So it's not a robot. It's just another guy dressed up as...
Because you can unlock Shiva, can't you?
Yes.
By beating the first boss and then holding A in start or something.
That's B in start, I think, up in B.
And then Shiva is unlocked as a playable character.
Yeah.
Why does it explain why he's on your side? Because he was obviously X's right-hand man, wasn't he, number 2?
Yeah. Nothing. Not people. Although there are more cutscenes with him in it.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to play out though if you are playing as him.
Yeah.
Because I haven't actually done that yet. But
there's something to look into, I guess. Yeah. I wonder if the story changes. I'll be really impressed. That'd be pretty cool.
Well, I found an English translation of it. That's why I started playing it.
Okay.
I couldn't read the story when I played the original Bare Knuckle.
I'll have to check that out because I wouldn't mind playing it through.
All I'm going to say is that the game actually makes sense, and where people are like, "Oh, it's so."
That's good because I always found Streets of Rage 3 to be a huge disappointment in comparison to.
And that's what everyone says. But if you play the proper story of Bare Knuckle, it makes sense.
Yeah,
the whole thing starts to make sense when you play it through like that. But no, I'm not even going to go into it. I was just going to talk about the first character that got pulled from the game.
Okay.
Which was Ash. If anyone wants to kind of look it up, they're more than welcome to. But
Ash Ketchum.
There is actually a mini boss on stage 1 that you get to fight.
Right.
Whereas in Streets of Rage 3, that's replaced with Shiva, and then you fight him again. Or you don't fight him the first time. He's just like dropping off guys to get in your way.
Yeah.
That's a different guy leading the other guys into battle in Bare Knuckle. But because you beat him up, and apparently because I enjoy that game, I'm a very, very nasty person.
Ah, yes, yeah, I did see you talk about this, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to go into that. It's stupid. It really is stupid, because then that means I hate clowns because I love the game, because I get to beat up a clown to save a kangaroo. then again, it's also fun to punch out the kangaroo, so I don't know if I hate kangaroos.
You hate friendly neighbourhood punks.
Yes.
Because you go around and punch them in the face.
I really do recommend, though, if people get a chance to play Bare Knuckle 3, ignore Streets of Rage 3, it doesn't exist.
It just for some reason reminded me that when I was a kid, I used to find Streets of Rage 1 really funny. Because you remember Shiva was actually like a regular baddie in Streets of Rage 1?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I always used to, for some reason, find it hilarious that the punks look like Vivian from the Young Ones.
God, yeah,
and Shiva looks like Neil. So
with the massive mohawks on that, because
I do love the character designs in those games. A lot of the enemies look very cool. I remember the bosses in... There's that very cool level in number 2 where you're in like a sort of a theme park and you go through an H.R. Geiger inspired space ride thing.
Oh god, yeah, that was pretty cool. And there's the weird
and the mist and the alien thing, yeah. And then like you had the dude with the jetpack who was one of the bosses.
Yeah, he's in 3 as well.
Yeah. They're very cool games. I do love those games.
I'm going to take a stab and say we must be having technical difficulties because Nick has just turned off the chat.
Well, my left fan appears to have died on my Mac, and my CPU has now reached 85 degrees Celsius.
Of course, if there was a bang, then there could have been a bit of a problem there.
Yeah,
okay,
so I've switched the Mac off
it's one of those nukes.
to try and cool it down a bit.
Apologies about this podcast. It's just a complete train wreck.
Yeah,
but
so
let's power through.
It's all because you were speaking kindly about Back to the Future.
Yeah.
You've only got yourself to blame.
No, I reckon it was because Nick was talking about Bioshock again.
Oh, maybe.
I don't think so. I'm just hoping that this will work as a substitute, but I'm not sure if it will. Oh, something's happening.
See, if we were still talking about Dynasty Warriors, it'd be fine. The gods smile on Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah, they do. They do. I was happy until we started talking about Bioshock.
Oh, what's happening? So I've got the links I've got up here now.
Okay.
Cool.
Right, we've got comments. Someone is asking about Paperboy and Wonder Boy.
Wonder Boy?
I think it means Paperboy.
No, Wonder Boy is a game.
Yeah,
so
what
is the?
It just says I must ask Paperboy, Wonder Boy 2. So I think assume that means want to ask about them.
Oh.
Paperboy, I remember Paperboy on a Sega.
Yeah, but actually that is actually what Back to the Future kind of reminds me of. Though no one complains about how dodgy Paperboy is, but they do about.
Oh right, that's clearly like what they're saying.
Yeah, like literally heading up a street and.
Yeah, Wonder Boy 2 then is the one where it's fixed movement.
Isn't that the one where they changed the whole thing? So you're an islander in 1.
Yeah, and in 2.
And in 2 you're a.
In 2 you are as well. And
okay.
It's
what's the one where it completely changes it up and you're.
Wonder Boy Monster World, and then you've got Wonder Boy and Dragon's Trap, haven't you? I think Dragon's Trap is the Mega Drive one, which is where it's like a role-playing game, and you can move around and you can talk to people and go in houses and stuff. Okay. And Monster World, I think, is the one on the Master System where you can change into different creatures, like you can change into a bird. They're really cool games. I like the Wonder Boy games.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think 2 is the scroller one, so it's probably where we're going with that. It's similar sort of.
I think everything is actually dying. Apparently his screen's gone fuzzy.
Oh.
Let's bring up the thing and see if it's playing all properly.
What that problem might be is my internet connection. Woo!
Jesus. Oh. We're having a really good night.
Right, because we're running this on Google Hangouts, they will automatically adjust video quality based on my internet connection, so apologies if it sucks more than normal. Same with the audio. If the audio starts dropping out, that'll be my internet connection. That was always one of our fears when we started doing
it. Was, yes.
Doing the live streams, because otherwise I'd just be using like XSplit or Wirecast or something to actually manually do everything. But none of that. So yeah, Back to the Future, not as bad as people say. Bare Knuckle 3 is amazing, and I've also been playing Probotector on the NES.
Yes.
So in case anyone isn't aware, Probotector is our version of Contra. And it's a side-scrolling shooter, considered one of the hardest games on the NES.
Oh yeah.
Feels really different when you're playing the EU Probotector compared to Contra because of the speed difference and the fact you're not shooting soldiers, you're shooting robots.
Robots, yeah, because you're playing as robots as well, aren't you?
Yeah, because this was something to do with German censors. From what I understand, this is something I found out quite recently, that because German.
How many Contra games have you played? May I ask?
Like Contra 1, Super Contra. Was it Super Contra?
Yeah.
So that was Probotector 3, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Contra the Alien Wars, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then there was Contra Hardcore, which is the Mega Drive one.
No, I haven't played that one.
You should play that one. That is a very cool game.
I might have to give it a
yeah, you've got 4 characters in that one. You have your main soldier guy that you played in the first Contra, a female soldier, a little tiny robot, and a werewolf with a gun for an arm, which goes completely out there. There's a Probotector version of it as well, which is obviously our version of it. Which is just 2 different types of robots rather than the man and the woman, and you've still got the little robot and then a cyborg werewolf with a gun arm. But yeah, you should try that one out. That's a good game, very hard, very cool game, really good graphics for the time as well. Yeah, it does some pretty clever graphical things. I think it's a Mega Drive game, so yeah,
worth checking out.
Definitely worth checking out.
Good job. Nick, I don't know if you're getting an update on the comments.
I'm trying to,
but I don't know if this is a comment we've already had. But we've been told that it's really loud and there's like a mains hum. Again, that's my fault. I'm having to run line out into my onboard sound card, and my PC's been playing up. Nothing has literally been working on the lead into this podcast. So we are literally running on dead gear right now.
Yeah, I'm having a bit of trouble trying to get up to the comments at the moment, so bear with us. I am trying to sort this out, but
I mean, literally, this podcast almost didn't happen to start with, so the fact that we're actually here tonight.
We are awfully sorry about today's podcast, but, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I would say I would try and edit it and salvage it, but I really don't think there's going to be a lot.
I think the technical term that you're looking for there is shit happens.
Yeah, this thing's boned. Like, from the word go, this thing is it's been absolutely screwed. So apologies for all that kind of stuff. We'll try and fix it.
Yeah.
I will work on it between now and the next podcast.
It's probably worth mentioning this is the second time we've ever live streamed the podcast.
It is.
Yeah, especially with this setup.
Thanks for the feedback, by the way, though, guys. We do appreciate that. That is useful.
It's just that you're going to have to, unfortunately, bear with us while we're learning.
Yeah, because is, I have to admit, this is a new way we've got stuff set up. This isn't how we'd normally rock through it. So
yeah, so I'm having to be now the Nexus. I don't get automatic update.
Well, can you see the
Yeah, I've got it now. Yeah.
No, I was going to say I've got the comments up there on the screen.
Yeah. Well, if you're not going to read them from here.
Well, I can read them when I'm blind as a bat.
Well, I'm having to be fresh to get comments up.
Okay.
So
I can't read them from here, but you read them for us. There you go.
That's right. As long as I refresh it, I'll refresh it every minute, so we'll see if anything new comes up. But unfortunately, that's the only way I'm getting comments at the moment.
Okay. Right. So, just as a note for people who are listening to this in the audio version, 1, I probably haven't edited it. 2, it probably really sounds like turd. Oh wait, hang on a minute. There's no intro. Look, I missed out part of the intro. Well, there you go then. I'm gonna have to splice that in from the live stream. This podcast is a complete cock up. Expect better things from podcasts, whatever the next one is supposed to be.
13.
Is it?
Unlucky for some.
Oh no. Well, we are completely screwed. So, but I'll work on the electrical noise and all that kind of stuff. I'll actually
watch out for machete wielding hockey goalie.
I wonder, you don't think you're picking anything from this?
I would hope not. I honestly do think a lot of that noise is coming from where I'm plugged in, where the line out's plugged in.
Next to the laptop and try and get away from the mics and see if that helps.
Okay.
Ideally, what we need is slightly more sensitive mics. The preamps on this aren't exactly great with these mics. If I go anything over 6, you'll get a really loud squeal. So I'd rather not squeal at people with electrical goodness. But then the noise, most of the noise that people are actually hearing right now is either coming from my PC fan, which is offensively loud, or noise coming from where we're actually wired in. Because I have literally just reformatted my PC, so nothing's actually properly set up yet.
Okay.
So yay, Contra, amazing game, really hard,
good
really
series.
Fun. I just want to say it's brilliant.
I think anyone who has been playing games for a long time will know of it and will enjoy it, or it'll be one of their games that they remember fondly. Because pretty much everyone I know who had a SNES or played it, or a NES even, or played a NES, knows Contra and knows it to be one of those.
Probotector over here. At least. Which is kind of weird because everyone was talking about Contra, and I'm like, no one talks about
yeah,
Contra.
and I'll tell you what else is a bit odd there is I remember the arcades, because obviously I'm an old school arcade gamer. I remember there being an arcade machine that had a collection of NES games on it. Like they did a SNES one later which had
F-Zero, Mario.
Yeah, that's the one. They had a NES one that had a load of games on, and the European one actually has Contra on it, not Pro Protector.
Yeah, that's. Oh, really?
Yep.
God damn. So they use Contra, the name Contra now. They just didn't way back.
No,
then.
yeah.
Then again, as I mentioned before on the podcast, we didn't have stuff like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
No, it was Hero.
We didn't have Ninja Gaiden. That was Shadow Warriors.
Yeah.
So just back in the days when censorship was a bit stupid. But it's really weird how much the speed difference affects the game.
Yeah.
Because our version plays something stupid like 15-20% slower.
Yeah, it is. I remember when I was a kid watching like TV shows on like Games Master and stuff, and you'd see games like American games
they'd
running.
show you the
And you
import
see,
games,
bloody hell, they look really different. Like they look better than our games. Yeah.
So it was just weird. I would like to grab Contra and play that through, like the actual Contra cart.
Yeah.
Probotech was one thing, but to actually get an American NES and
You
play
need
on that would be pretty neat.
Try hardcore for definite.
Actually, just randomly speaking, because I've been playing all these retro games. The Retron 5, the like 9 or 10 in 1 clone system,
Right.
is now shipping.
Oh, excellent.
So it's probably going to retail for, I think people in Americaville crying a little bit because it's about $130, and this is only going to be about 100. And over here it's about £120. But then I say,
isn't it, really?
it's like a 9 or 10 in 1. It's going to cost more than that to get the system.
Yeah,
so
yeah, you can't really argue with that. That's pretty good going.
I mean, I think I paid 30 quid to get my Master System.
Isn't that less than that horrible Neo Geo emulator they released to the public?
Or the Neo Geo X or whatever it was called. The
Mini Neo
handheld
Geo with
in
a big
the
Neo Geo.
top.
Yeah.
And it was literally just the little handheld.
And it was a really crap emulator.
Yeah.
That gave you like limited lives on games. So I was like, have fun playing Magician Lord on that.
Yeah.
Not getting past level 1.
I mean, I guess it'd be kind of neat to have, but really, if you're going to play Neo Geo, go out and get a proper system. Expensive as hell, though.
Or just emulate the Neo Geo games.
Yeah,
from
well,
the
I mean, then again, I have no problem with emulation.
No,
so,
me neither. No, especially for arcade games, because.
Yeah. Which actually, there I have to recommend the Ouya. If anyone's looking for a cheap emulation box, that you don't want to sit at your PC or whatever, because I know a lot of people are now putting PCs in their living room.
Yeah.
The Ouya is a pretty good box for emulation, just a little Rubik's Cube that you can put by your telly.
Cool.
Right. We've been asked a question.
Okay.
Yep.
What thoughts do you have on driving games? Do you think people that play them are a different type of gamer from those who play fantasy games?
What type of driving game? Are we talking arcadey driving game or simulators?
I'd
like
say
Gran
no,
Turismo
because
or...
I'd definitely say no, because I'm a big on fantasy games. I really do enjoy fantasy games. But as I was just saying to you, I'm an arcade gamer, and I used to love games like Sega Rally and Daytona USA. The amount of money I put into that.
Really fun game.
Yeah, I think it.
Some of my favourites are the old school checkpoint races, like Hang On.
And like we also had the discussion that a lot of people that tend to like a lot of the games we do don't like sports games, but I know you're particularly quite a big fan of old school hockey games, aren't you?
I love hockey games.
Yeah.
Everything up until about 2003, and then NHL.
Well, yeah, no, I'd say driving games are good. I mean, I don't really play so many anymore. I always preferred the whole experience of like sitting in an arcade cab with a steering wheel and everything in front of you. But yeah,
from my point of view, I hate racing games. Absolutely detest them.
Then again, driving games aren't always necessarily racing games, are they?
I don't like driving games.
But
I must admit, I've never found them entertaining. After a few minutes of playing them, I tend to get bored of them.
I think you really get more out of those kind of games when you're playing them with other people. Again, which with the arcade element definitely comes in. I mean, if you're sitting in... Daytona had those 4-seater cabinets, didn't they?
And those were
fantastic to play with your mates. Yeah, very cool.
I mean, I would always say that I wasn't a big fan of racing games, but then again, I always used to say I wasn't really a big fan of spaceship shooters. But looking back in time, some of my favourite games as a child were checkpoint races and spaceship shooters.
You can really knock any genre. There's always a game that's an exception to the rule, isn't there? If you
play. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I would go on a limb and say I hate first-person shooters, but actually there's quite a number of first-person shooters I quite enjoy. Yeah.
Just saying. Just throwing that out there because everyone should like Katana Castle Wolfenstein. If you don't, I want to slap you. I'll find you and slap you. I'm like hallucinating right now, but I will literally come down and slap you. No, so I mean, I'm just trying to think like, hang on,
you think we were living in Nazi Germany with that kind of attitude?
No, we're in North Korea. I'm thinking along the lines of Hang On, Super Hang On.
Yeah, Outrun.
Yeah, Outrun. Rad Racer. Some of my kind of favourite, really early racing games.
Rock and Roll Racing. That was a cool racing game.
Super Off Road. Lotus 2 Turbo Challenge and Lotus 2 Rex. I think it was Lotus 2 Rex. I'm trying to think of other racing games. Strangely enough, I actually quite liked the Gran Turismo series.
I remember really liking the game on N64 called Extreme G.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool. That was a neat little game. I remember really loving Wipeout as well. That was a cool game.
Well, those are more kind of arcadey races, aren't
still races, but yeah. But then I mean, you've got races. I guess you've got the old technical sims. Like Gran Turismo and all that kind of.
I think there was another one called something Redline. I can't remember what it was called.
I mean, I'm not really big into cars and stuff, but I remember my cousin always playing a lot of those kind of games because he really loves cars.
Yeah.
And I remember being impressed with Gran Turismo because even though it isn't my kind of game and I could never get into it, the amount of content that was in there and stuff you could do to tweak cars and stuff, I thought that's pretty neat. There's a lot of good stuff there.
I mean, seeing some of the. I mean, I've seen some actually really nice, like say, I think it's probably back in the Gran Turismo, not old Gran Turismo, but say Gran Turismo 5 days. People had some really impressive kind of racing rigs that they'd set up in their homes, like proper racing seats.
That's pretty neat.
They'd have all the pedals set up. They'd have the race wheel calibrated, and all this kind of stuff. A massive screen array to play these games, and it looked really impressive.
Yeah.
And if you were playing like that with, racing wheels, pedals, a proper shifter and that, I could really understand how you'd enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because of the immersion of it all, and because it is a simulator. Kind of like people who like buying big old arcade sticks to play their flight sims.
Yeah.
I have to say, talking of simulators, I have been tempted to buy all the proper switches that tractors have and build my own little farming simulator keyboard setup with all the proper switches.
Do you know what we should do?
Yeah, see, exactly. Similar to those who play
Flight Simulator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got bloody good eyesight.
Good music on Wipeout, yes. There is good. Well, the thing is, I can only see it properly somewhere in the cloud.
Yeah, I remember Wipeout introducing me to the Prodigy, actually. I think it was a Prodigy.
Wasn't Wipeout was one of the first ones that was on PlayStation and Saturn, wasn't it? And then they remade it on the
2097 was the best one, I think. That was a wicked game. Yeah, and then there's a PS Vita version, isn't there? I have to get that, actually. I haven't got the PS Vita version. I think I've got it on
PS3. It was really neat. But I was more into, at the time, oh god, Roll Cage was a pretty good one.
Oh yeah, the one we could. Yeah,
remember
cool.
the remote control cars that would flip upside down and still go? Roll Cage was pretty much that, but it was Extreme G.
I remember playing the demo over and over and over for Roll Cage. They released about 3 different demos for it. It was really pushed by the PlayStation magazine.
That was a really
I was just going to say that I think that we should get Nick to do a long play of Harvest Moon.
Oh my god, that would be
Imagine
insane.
that. Harvest Moon is a Japanese role-playing game / farming simulator.
Right.
And I think you'd enjoy it, actually.
Good job. Now we know how to torment.
I don't know what the best version is, but yeah, we'll have to look into that, see what people say is the best version, maybe get a version for Nick to play.
He's gonna kill himself.
I think most people were saying the 64 version was the best one, but I don't know if it's easy to get hold of.
I've probably got it.
I remember reading about the game and sort of people saying that one was the best one. But yeah, maybe we'll have to look into it.
Can anyone recommend newer driving simulators? Or are there any new checkpoint races? Because and randomly...
I can't think of the last racing game I played, actually. It'd be nice to sort of see some...
Like, quickly, I need opinions on Burnout Paradise. Has anyone played Burnout Paradise?
Oh, those were cool games.
That used to be... What the hell was Burnout? What was Burnout Paradise? That was another game, but rebranded as Burnout, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Or was that one Need for Speed that they blended the two?
I don't think so. Burnout 3 was a cool game. I remember really enjoying that.
Well, I quite like Burnout Paradise, but everyone hated that game. Like, just being able to drive around the city and just wreck other people's stuff.
But I want to risk booting the Mac up again.
No.
No?
No. Just don't. Look, everything else has exploded already tonight. The podcast is absolutely crap. The audio is awful, and I already feel really bad for making people listen to this crap.
They're loving it.
I mean,
they're lapping it up.
Are you sure? I'm almost seeing the green demons popping out of my screen right now. I am not going to be able to sleep. Oh, the audio was horrible.
I'm just waiting for a comment from Kim. When are you coming to visit?
When are you coming to North Korea? Next week, Kim. No, no, that might actually happen now. Yeah. Get bags thrown in the back of a van and off I go.
North Korean driving simulator. Excellent.
There is actually a North Korean driving simulator game.
Split Second is a good arcade. Is that right? Split Second, is that the one where that was like it took place in, say, the future where it was like a TV show and everything would blow up and like you'd get power-ups that you could cause.
Smash TV, you're thinking of?
No, you bug. I am talking about a driving game.
A driving game?
Yeah, it's
I haven't played. I haven't played it.
Oh, no, because we've just had a comment about it, and I am thinking...
it might be. I've not played it.
That was one that took place in like a TV show, and you had all like the best races going against each other, and then you could get like catastrophe kind of power-ups where you could like... you could either take out your... Say there's a skyscraper in the distance, you could use the power-up, and it would take out the skyscraper, and then that would kind of crumble onto the road.
Alright,
and
that's
you could,
cool.
Like, take out other races like that, and chances are you could kill yourself whilst doing it.
Sort of gives me an idea of sort of like Carmageddon, maybe, that kind of thing.
Kind of a modern take, I suppose. There you go.
Fair enough.
Oh, Carmageddon, that was another good one.
That was a cool game.
I love that game. Had Duke Nukem in it. That was good. Right, I'm just going to start dribbling here now, because I'm going to start remembering all the stuff from my childhood, and I'm never going to stop.
I think it's good to go on a tangent if we've got people watching that are interested in certain things.
That's
sometimes.
Good, yeah. It's nice
to sort of jump into...
Yeah, considering we can't save this quality-wise,
yeah.
Again, I apologise. It's not often I apologise for anything, but this I'm going to have to
do some work on.
No, I don't think I can save it.
Because it's got me...
But we'll try.
It's got me thinking about driving games, and I haven't played a driving game in ages. It's just something to sort of go back to, I think.
I want to play the original Gran Turismo again.
Yeah, the very first PlayStation one.
Because that used to be on... do you remember Games World on Sky One? I think we've talked about this, haven't we, Nick? The temple, and they'd throw people down the pit. There'd be 5 contenders every week, and every day they'd eliminate one of the contenders. And then on Friday, they'd have the final person would go up against the Videators, which were like the top gamers of the show.
Right.
And so they had like different...
Yeah, actually, now you've mentioned it, yes, I do remember that game.
Game.
I suppose it's a game show, isn't it? If you're playing against people.
They used to have... Well, that's where Guru Larry...
I just remember stuff like Games Master and Bad Influence and all that.
Yeah, I remember those
stuff.
too. They lied to us. Bad Influence lied.
Did it?
They said that the TurboGrafx 16 was going to hit UK shores at some point, and it didn't.
Andy Crane, how could you do that to us? What was the girl's name? Violet? Yeah, how could you do that to us? We trusted you. Ever since your days in the broom cupboard with Schofield, we trusted you.
And there you go, that's our child. Childhood where we turned out the way we did.
God, we've gone back there. Right, yeah, back to subject at hand before we really go into Nostalgiaville.
But yeah, all good stuff. I just remember that show. It was fun.
Time.
Oh, did you know Guru Larry was in on Games Master as well? I think he was one of the first contenders. Have you ever watched Guru Larry? British YouTuber.
Oh,
good stuff. He had his own TV show at some point.
All right, cool.
So did Ashens at some point as well. So
cool.
Larry Bundy Jr. Check him out.
Are we?
Oh, I recognise the name, so maybe I have.
Good old Guru.
Cool.
Are we?
He appeared in the. he appeared in Ashen's film, Stuart Ashen.
Oh right,
a film called Quest for the Game Child. If anyone's watched Ashen or Ashen's,
Ashen's the guy,
Brown
British
Couch.
guy that reviews.
He used to live around the corner.
Funnily enough, it was him who I was watching the Neo Geo thing on.
Yeah,
he was the one that outlined to me that Neo Geo was crap and should not be bought.
Yeah, well, because he collects
Neo Geo emulator. Yeah,
he collects tat basically. And
reviews it. Yeah.
Yeah, he used to buy it all from Poundland, my local Poundland, and review it on his brown couch. But Guru Larry appears in Ashen's movie. Ashen's made a movie about him going around looking for this really rare piece of crap.
Okay.
And it was actually kind of an interesting story, so I won't spoil it for anyone. But check out Ashen's and the Quest for the Game Child. But Guru Larry appears in that as a guy in like a psycho ward. Who like everyone else is in behind locked doors, bar doors and that, and Guru Larry is literally chained in place. But apparently he went completely nuts and murdered a load of people for beating his high score in Donkey Kong.
Oh, okay.
It was like brilliant. Good times.
Right. So we finished with games we've been playing.
Yes, finally. Well,
Well,
that's a good thing we stretched it out because we don't have anything in film review and we don't have anything in
tabletop
tabletop.
was empty as well. I was meant to play Game of Thrones card game.
Again.
Again, like last time was because it hadn't arrived. This time it's just because we couldn't really be bothered. So
There you go. That's dedication right there.
it will get played, and I will review it and tell you what I think. The cards are nice though. I looked through it. It's got
Ooh.
character design's quite cool. Anyone who watches Game of Thrones will know some of the characters. Yeah, you're missing out, Luke. You're missing out. Or reads the books because these characters are all based around the book characters, surrounded by heathens, uncultured heathens. Yeah. It's
Wait, I can't read. Says the guy reading the comments from afar. Good job.
Right. So stuff we're looking forward to.
Is there anything? Is there
There's a
going to be a
couple of things.
Bioshock Infinite reboot?
No.
Yeah.
No.
I put down Middle Earth: Shadow of Mordor.
You linked a trailer.
I did. Did you watch it?
I did, but I had no idea what the hell was going on.
It's interesting. The reason I'm quite a big Lord of the Rings fan, and the reason it caught my eye is because it looked really well done. Bits of it I was a bit not sure if they're trying to copy Assassin's Creed with how some of the assassinations were done, but the game itself looks quite interesting.
Oh, so that's what it is. It's Lord of the Rings, but Assassin's Creed, is it? Because I had no idea what the hell was going on.
I think it's
Lord,
like all right. The basic idea that I got from it. There's not been much info released on it yet.
Yeah, because can we just say there is like nothing there about what the hell this is?
It looks like you're a ranger who ends up behind, like within Mordor. You're sort of stuck in Mordor. It kind of looks like something awful befell you. The intro looked like it was like him and his wife being essentially killed by a group of orcs. But then he wakes up and he's okay. But he has like a ring wraith within him, like a sort of a spirit of a dead warrior of some kind that he can tap into. From how it looks, using runes in his weapons, you can engrave your weapons with runes that give you different abilities. But the game looks fantastic. I mean, graphically, it looks really nice. It looks sort of movie quality. A lot of the character expressions in game, from what I was seeing, they show some bits with him interacting with orcs. Look pretty good. If it sort of sticks to sort of general Tolkien style, it'll be quite a good game, I hope.
I will say it looked pretty shiny, but I'm not going to really comment. I had no idea what the hell was going on in that trailer.
All it really showed was little bits
Loads of people getting
combat, and what he can do and how he can fight. And
reminds me of the old Guild Wars 2 trailers.
Oh,
look, this is what you can do. Like, nothing else about the game. But
there's only 2 trailers for it that I have seen thus far, which is one that shows a little bit of story, and then the one I linked you to that shows the combat. It just looks interesting. It's something that we might have to look into as it sort of gets closer. I think it's coming out on all consoles. I don't know about the Wii U. I know it's on PS4, Xbox One, and there's a Steam release for it. Looks interesting.
Can I just bring up a comment we've got here?
Okay.
I think that's how important will 3D TVs become.
They won't.
Yeah, same opinion if I had.
Until you can have 3D TVs and wear stupid pair of glasses, they won't become important.
I've only ever watched 2 films in 3D. One of those films was a Freddy Krueger film with like classic cardboard 3D glasses.
Yeah, I was going to say you're talking about the old where.
And that was just like really bad. Or brilliant because it's a Krueger film and was hilarious. But yeah, then there was I watched The Hobbit Part 2 in 3D, and maybe it was the wrong kind of film to go watch in 3D. But I was like, it was okay. But
so I never got into the 3D craze, if I had to be honest.
Same here. I got dragged to go see Resident Evil 4 in 3D.
They're still making those?
Yes, they are. I didn't know
I found was that the 3D glasses cut into my ears and hurt my gigantic
nose. All I found was it's like watching a film through a pair of sunglasses. Everything was dull and grey because you basically wear a pair of sunglasses.
Yeah.
And then when you actually, they suddenly realised actually 3D doesn't really work at all, so we'll shove in some gratuitous sort of shots or something in that coming at the screen at you just so we can justify the 3D. Do you know what I mean? Like a hammer being thrown at the screen just to justify watching
to
3Ds.
Do the old school thing that they used to do with 3D. Look, something's coming at you.
Yeah, the film was
until they release a 3D version of Ghost Dad, I don't care.
Right, okay. But I don't think, and I just don't see 3D TVs ever taking off they've tried it. It's been, what's this, the third or fourth time they've tried to bring 3D into the mainstream?
Not entirely sure.
There's been they first were trying in the 50s and it died out. They tried again, I think in the 70s it died out, and then I think in the 80s and it died out. And now again it's died out. They just don't seem to learn that 3D just doesn't work.
Well, a lot of people, I don't know if anyone's like me, where I can't actually see.
You can't see 3D.
Yeah, like,
I can't
because I'm almost blind in one.
I can, but a good example is the 3DS. When I had a 3DS, the 3D on it did nothing for me.
That's
it
a
was
bit
like,
hit and miss.
I was kind of like, it
I can
worked.
kind of see that. But
I could see it. It worked, but it didn't really accentuate the game at all for me. It was just like, oh, okay. It made it. I mean, Kid Icarus was a game I played mostly with it on, and Kid Icarus looks nice anyway. Very nice looking game, and the 3D made it look a little bit better, but it wasn't really enough to sell me on it.
I think it says, how do you think game technology will have evolved by 2020? We all have holodecks, zero-G suits, and you'll be totally immersed in the game down to the individual feelings.
We'll all be retro hipsters.
Yes.
Yeah, I will be sat
We'll
next to
be
my NES.
we'll have a holodecks. We'll be emulating NES games on them.
Yeah, but, do you know what? Actually, speaking of, I'm really glad that was brought up because I keep gushing over that Ernest Cline book, Ready Player One. You read it, Ready Player One?
You've gushed about it. I've never gushed about it on the actual podcast.
No.
Okay, right. So I always kind of gush about Ready Player One. If I have mentioned it in the podcast before, tough. I'm going to talk about it again now. Ready Player One takes place many, many moons in the future. Basically, folks from the 1980s are old geezers now. If you grew up in the 80s like us, you're going to be like in your 70s or whatever by the time the book takes place. But the world is...
So about 2050 then?
Whenever. The world is fucked. Dude, I can barely see straight right now and you're expecting me to figure out what I'm talking about. Basically, the world is absolutely fucked. We've run out of fuel, but the planet can barely sustain the sheer number of crap going on. Like all the too many people. We're nuking each other for water and food and electricity and all that kind of stuff. We've just royally fucked up. And one of the main ways that humanity is managing to kind of survive and live, like, economy gone. Everything is fucked. But the only thing we do still have and that we cling on to is video gaming. And the big thing in this time is a game called The Oasis, which is basically a massive fucking MMO, which is like Second Life, but ramped up, where people can just, they put on like a visor, a pair of gloves, and what they do in the game is what happens. So
in general Second Life gamers, I don't want to know what they do when they've got a visor and a pair of gloves.
Yeah, that's when things start to get a bit funky. But I really am kind of I expect.
The visor and a pair of gloves just made me think of Geordie the Forge doing the washing up.
Just stop. Oh my god, just getting really excited about this stuff now. We're gushing too bad. No, that's really bad consumer talk. Like, yep, we're all wearing gloves. Yay.
Oh,
good times. But right, basically, yeah, there are different levels of immersion rigs. So you've got the basics with your visor and your gloves. You've got all information is in this game. So you can go to a library and access any book. You can go in there, listen to any song. Computers at the point now where you can practically download everything from
it's
a period
like
of time. And
kind of like the Matrix in a sense, then, but voluntary.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And basically the designer of the game dies, but he's got no children, no family, no friends, and he puts his entire fucking fortune up for grabs for someone who can find his Easter egg that he's hidden in the game.
Right.
And it kind of takes you back in time to when he was he explains it as when he was a child. He kind of relates to when he played Adventure on the Atari 2600. He found the world's first Easter egg, which was the Adventure. The code, the guy who wrote the code, his name is in the game. If you haven't played Adventure on the Atari 2600, Warren Robinette's name is actually in a secret room in the game because Atari didn't give people credit back then.
Right.
For coding games. So the guy says, "Look, this guy's an '80s nutcase."
Yeah.
The guy that invented
He'd
the game.
fit in well with us then.
Yeah, pretty much. He would know films off by heart. He had he didn't fit into one specific group. He was a hardcore kind of nerd or a geek, but he listened to metal, he'd listen to jazz, he'd listen to whatever of the time, basically.
Right.
He was an absolute nut of anything from the 80s and from that point on. But the key to finding the Easter egg was to master everything from the 80s. Anything that he could possibly be into, the kids of this time period were
please tell me
it.
that there's a section where there's a montage of them mastering everything from the 80s, because that would be like 80s in 80s.
Yeah.
That would have been hilarious, but
with Arthur Tiger playing in the background.
Around.
I was like, so everyone, like, they're saying how all the kind of old folks who aren't necessarily all in the Oasis, they're kind of going around in there. You're starting to see all the kids going around, like the trends of the day. Of the 80s are being kind of brought back. You've got, kind of like, I don't know, like acid wash jeans and stuff like that. Are all coming back,
everybody looks like Streets of Rage 2 generic baddie.
Yeah, pretty much. Like everyone looks like a Streets of Rage character. And no, that's like they have full blown. I'm kind of going off and explaining what the book's about, but read the book,
right?
Because at some point they mention
he does read. He does read.
I can sometimes read. Sometimes I understand some, but.
Read a book about video games in the 80s, but you give him something cultured, and he's like, no, what's this?
Hey, I understand some words, and I understand Romance of the Three Kingdoms, so shut the fuck up, hippie.
Shaka Zulu spit. I'm not going to read that.
But they have full blokes, so Nick was like an immersion rig, kind of like a dealio, where we've all got holodecks and stuff. In the book, they explain kind of like haptic suits, where people literally buy up, and they have connectors that attached to everyone on the body, and you kind of put in the suit. And
oh god, now we're definitely going into Second Life territory.
Yeah, pretty much. It's kind of like a masturbation simulator.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah, that's how I see gaming will go in the future at some point. Like you will be able to just kind of walk into a room and bam, you are in a game. You won't have to walk out your house. You can see it all in this game. If you want to go and read a book, you can actually go and leaf through a digital version of a book.
I don't. Well, I mean. I can't see it being quite like that by 2020.
The Lawnmower Man.
Yeah. I mean, we have talked about, also by 2020, we'll be waiting for the next batch of consoles.
No, I don't believe it. Let's put it this way. I've gotten to the point where, yeah, I don't even give a crap about current gen systems, so I'm hoping by 2020 we get something good. I'm just thinking like Oculus Rift. When we get Oculus Rift and the Omni, we're going to speed up.
That's what I'm going to say. That's what I'm saying. Oculus Rift and Omni, by then it will be on version 2 or 3, maybe more. They'll have refined it.
Aren't we already on, technically, or on the
well,
third
they're still not quite. I don't think they're
I'm way more cynical than you guys. We'll be playing Call of Duty 29.
No,
I
reckon
by
will
be,
2040
but with
we'll
an
have
Oculus
a full-blown rig. But yeah, by 2020 we'll probably have Oculus Rifts. Most people have like an Omni or something like that.
Yeah, I would say so. Maybe and I think the prices will drop.
Well, I mean, the Omni ain't exactly expensive, and the Rift ain't exactly expensive.
No, it's not expensive, but it's still expensive.
Yeah, for what it is, I suppose.
Yeah, for how much? I mean, I would like to have a setup like that.
It's only about 500 quid, isn't it? Or 600.
Yeah, it's fine. It's good. I mean, I'd like that. But
if anyone's curious what the Omni is, it's basically
it's a wok.
Yeah, so a wok you run in, and it makes your characters move around on the screen.
Yeah, I'll put listen back to episode 1 to find out what the Omni is. That's the ultimate flashback.
Although apparently that doesn't work with the Rift anymore.
Does it not?
Yeah, because I think they've changed part of the sensor, so you have to be sat down to get the Rift to work properly. So if you were running around with the Omni, the second you turn away from one of the sensors that's now on like a little camera or whatever, it now communicates through like a camera or some crap.
No!
It will then just completely disconnect you.
You shattered his dreams.
Yeah, exactly.
That was my future, running around in a wok with a Rift on, being sick.
I kept on thinking like that would be the first part of the immersion rig, because I was really hoping that when the Omni came out and the Rift came out and people were playing with them kind of together, by say 2016 would have like the next really big experience of gaming, because they'd speed up development, because everyone's now coming out with a VR headset. Sony's got one.
Yeah.
I think Samsung.
Imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever, except boot has EA written on the bottom, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, gaming's fucked. Gaming in the future, DLC.
Download content for everything. Perfect.
Yeah. Everything will just be downloadable at that point.
Well, keeping with our theme, stuff to look forward to, my only thing I put in here is tonight, actually. In fact, I think it might have already been launched. The 7th edition of Warhammer 40,000 has been launched.
Woo.
which is we're back on sort of tabletop now. I've moved away from sort of PC gaming and computer gaming and console gaming to tabletop gaming. So Warhammer is a war game. Between several futuristic armies, and you get to have crazy weapons, and
you pay silly money to get some pieces that you have to put together yourself.
Yeah, unless you go on eBay.
Yeah, and buy pre-built models.
No, you buy kits. You can get kits quite cheap.
Or just get someone else's army that they're selling.
Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, it's fine. But I enjoy it. I love Warhammer. And they've now released a new version. Comes out tonight. A bit annoying because version 6 only got released 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's a bit soon, isn't it?
Normally
really?
It's about 4 to 5 years between a version, so 2 years is a bit short.
But I mean, I hear that Games Workshop, people who have been following Games Workshop for a long time are kind of dropping out of it now, dropping out of the hobby because of the way Games Workshop does this, has been appealing to children more than and families. I reckon they've been trying to sell.
I don't know where they've got that idea from. I disagree with that totally.
I was reading that they were aiming to sell more to more casual gamers than they were.
To me, from what as a Games Workshop player myself, I think they're actually now aim more towards the collectors.
Really?
Well, the collector's edition of Warhammer 7th edition, which has got like a sort of bare quality rule book, you've got all your bits and pieces to go with it. It comes in a nice big case. Is £200.
Okay.
That is not something you aim to a family.
No.
That's to a collector.
Yeah.
They are aiming more to collectors. And another thing, you look at the new rule book, even if you look at the old rule book, the 6th edition, I say old, the original book, it's beautiful throughout. The quality of the drawings, graphics, beautiful throughout. But I would disagree saying it's aiming for families. I would disagree that. I would say Warhammer has always been although you get kids starting it, they're not the ones who stick with it. They basically, they're like me. I started when I was a kid. Play it for a little while, then sort of drifted away from it and come back to my 20s.
I'll just check in. I used to play Mordheim. I've watched people play Warhammer and 40k, but I was always more a Mordheim gamer just for the skirmish gaming.
But I got back into my 20s when I was a little bit more sensible. And yeah, most of my friends do. I think the youngest amongst us who plays Warhammer is 24.
Okay.
So we're not, and you go on the forums, there's not a lot of young people who do actually. It's mainly the old generation seem to come into it when they're older now. It's actually, I dare say it's mature. It's actually quite a mature thing. I mean, if you go to a Games Workshop store on Saturday, you'll get loads of kids in there, but that's because the older gamers won't go to a Games Workshop store. They'll go to a gaming club, or they'll meet, like we do, meet each other's garages and play in garages.
Yeah.
So you won't. That's that. Whereas a gaming store might be a place the kids can go to play. So that's what we get the impression. That's where
we always used to laugh that whenever you go into Games Workshop, you'll get a member of staff pop out of a book. You just you want to read a codex and do, "Hello, sir. What would you like to buy now?" It's like, oh, Jesus Christ.
They are. I mean, I have to say, they do like to sell things. They do push selling things. That is true. I would say the customer support's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Problem with everything. Right. I got sent I ordered some Tau, and I ordered some Tau Fire Warriors. And they sent me a box set of some Kroot, which is the part of Tau Army, but not what I ordered. Rang them up, said, I'm awfully sorry. Sent me the one thing. Oh, sorry about that. We'll send you the correct one. I said, oh, where do I send back these ones? Oh, don't worry about it. Just keep them.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, they just let me keep them. And you look at the models now. The models are so much more detailed than they used to be. They are beautifully crafted now. They were launched a few years ago. They launched Finecast, and the first few batches were a little bit iffy. The first few had a few air bubble problems, but the new ones actually, the detailing on them, if you can't, unless you compare two side by side, you can't see really the difference. When you compare them side by side, they are amazingly detailed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so quality wise, they are expensive, but actually, you are getting what you pay for.
Yeah.
See it more like you're collecting it and pay more time. That's rather than just buy loads of things and.
Yeah, I mean, my worry was always that they'd move too fast and that things would end up becoming obsolete. Do they do that, or can you carry a lot of your models over?
I still use I still use Space Marine Codex. I still use models I had when I started back in 2003.
And they're still
perfectly valid. Perfectly.
We have actually had this discussion.
We have had discussions, so I'm not going to go to it again. They've never made it.
I jumped into it because I didn't know whether we discussed it on the podcast before.
We have discussed it on the podcast.
Just in case anyone is only now kind of tuning in, I guess, we tend to sit here for a couple of hours before we start the podcast and tend to talk about everything anyway.
And sometimes we forget what's
it's kind of
reality from podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So 7th edition, just quickly a few major changes. First major change, it's now got a psychic phase, whereas before your psychers would be able to sort of do their powers at set points in the turn.
Okay.
So you have movement, shooting, assault. They're your main turns. They've got a psychic phase between movement and shooting. If you've played Warhammer, Warhammer's got a magic phase. So the psychic phase is actually very similar. Mechanics are very similar. You generate warp points, which you then use to cast psychic powers, or manifest psychic powers, they call it, at your enemy units, and the enemy can have a chance to defend against them. The other real major change, and it actually reminded me of something we discussed a few podcasts about, where you were saying that you thought Warhammer was quite restricted, what you could have, whereas in other games,
I remember discussing that.
Whereas like you were saying, Magic game, you could have complete freeform. Well, Warhammer, they used to be fixed by force, what they call force organisation charts, which used to say you can have 1 unit from an HQ choice, 2 troops, and then you're limited by, you have 4 more troops, 1 more HQ, 3 from fast attack, which is like your sort of fast attack stuff, 3 from heavy support, which is like your big tanks, and 3 from elites.
Right.
Gone completely. You can have whatever you want. There is nothing. You can have an army of all your elite units, nothing else.
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty gone. They are still in there, and you get bonuses to using them.
Right.
But other than that, whoosh, gone. Do what the hell you like. So all I can say is there's a lot of beardy armies coming up in the next 3 months. If you know what beardy means, you might have heard the term cheesy. Americans can use the word cheesy. We tend to use the term beardy. Basically, it's an army that's legally in the rules fine, perhaps morally wrong. It's tactics that it's like there's a unit you can create through the right bits, adding upgrades to it. You can actually make units actually impossible to kill.
This is my army of avatars of the Eldar. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Avatars of Kane.
My friend, he has a unit he can deploy in his Chaos army, and basically you can't kill it. It's got 20 models in it, and I think one game I managed to kill my friend. Lots of stuff, but managed to kill a model. It was ridiculous. But
what is it? What unit is it?
Oh, you'd have to ask him for the full details. It's like a long list of upgrades. It's a Chaos Marine unit. And you have to give him like certain upgrades. I'd have to ask him for the details.
Okay.
I can't remember, but it's horrific. All I know is it's impossible to kill. He actually stopped playing it, not because anybody could play it, but because it wasn't fun to play. But that is perfectly legal within the rules, and so that would be that was what we would call a beardy unit. And it's the old adage: anything that you like, which is good for your army, is beardy to everybody else, and anything that's bad for your army, bad for everybody else, is fine from your point of view, is balanced. So that's the other main thing. There are a few other sort of changes. They've changed how vehicle damage works. In the old one, way vehicle damage worked, summarised. If you hit a vehicle, you rolled a dice, and depending on what you rolled, depending on what you did to it. And you could destroy a vehicle on a 6. Would destroy a vehicle. That's gone now. You can only destroy a vehicle on a 7, which you think is quite hard to get on a 6-sided dice. But it's not, because certain weapons have got a lot of power behind them, can actually add to the roll.
Yeah.
So, for most majority, basically, you won't have a tank took out by some sort of light infantry weapons. Won't be able to take a tank out anymore, which is good, which makes sense. Vehicles still have what they call hull points, which is represent them taking like wounds, and when they lose all the hull points, then they're wrecked. So they can still get wrecked, but you can't take them out in one hit.
Yeah. Whereas,
like my tower, I've got a weapon that could take a vehicle out in one hit. So it makes it actually more powerful in a way, because I can punch my way through an arm and destroy it. A few other changes. It used to have these area terrain, what they call mysterious terrain. So area terrain was terrain that covered an area. That's gone now. It's just difficult terrain, nothing else really. Difficult terrain slows your troops' movement down.
Yeah.
And there's one called mysterious terrain, which I hated, and a lot of gamers hated. And basically, you put all your terrain on the board, and once you got within a certain distance of it, you had to roll 2d6, and that'd be a random result. So you might go towards a forest, and then find the forest is full of carnivorous trees, and all your troops get attacked. It was okay if there's one piece of terrain that did it, that's fine. But when it's every single piece of terrain, it just basically just never went near it. And most games, me and my friend playing, just never bothered. We say forget about it. We'll just play it through as terrain. So they've pretty much cut that back. I think maybe for that reason, because I don't think a lot of people played with it, because it was just annoying.
Look, there is Rocky, 1,000 wild geodudes appear. Shit.
Yeah, it was about that. So I'm going to get it next week, so I'll have a read through it and have a flashback on it next one. And hopefully, I'm hoping to have had a couple of games moving, not for the next podcast, but for the podcast after. We'll hopefully have had a couple of games in.
Excellent.
So I can discuss it more then.
So we're kind of hoping that the podcast actually works at that point.
I'm leaving out of technical support.
Okay, cool.
Okay, other news. So, Luke, want to talk about your favourite system again? I know much you love this system.
Oh yeah, I do.
I know you've got 8 of them already, haven't you, around the back?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great.
they've all red rings.
Hint.
Microsoft, when Kinect was released, not Kinect, when Xbox, I can't call it Xbox Zero. It is Xbox. It's Xbox One. When Xbox One was released, they put the Kinect came with it. You might know better than this than I do. The Kinect came with it, and they said it was essential
Yes.
for the console to do it.
The Xbox One, when initially announced, when it was announced, was at E3. God knows how long ago it was. Microsoft dropped the ball. They said you had to always have an internet connection or be connected within 3 days or something stupid like that, or 48 hours or something like that. It was either a day, 2 days, or 3 days, and then everything would just kind of shut off. You had to have the Kinect tied in to the system. Like, it was there. It could be unplugged, but if you unplugged it, your system would stop working because it was literally built in. Like, it was all tied into the firmware.
Yeah.
You needed it. Pretty much nothing would work without it, from what I understand anyway. Then they got rid of the DRM stuff because everyone went absolutely
I would as well.
loco about it.
If you ain't got a decent
if
you ain't got a decent internet connection, or you've got
your
dodgy
Xbox is a brick.
Just everything about it sounded terrible.
And there's no real reason why does the Xbox have to be connected to the internet every 3 days. What is the logic behind it?
It was all for DRM. It was DRM, DRM, all of it. Absolutely all of it. I couldn't honestly think of why. Oh, but it didn't have something to do with like game sharing.
DRM puts a lot of people off games. I mean, I've recently been hearing about Uplay and how it actually stops people buying Ubisoft games. There's a lot of people that refuse to play Ubisoft games because I can't be bothered to have Uplay. You know,
if I'm going to play an Ubisoft game, it will be on a console because they don't force me to play through Uplay. Something to do with Uplay will pop up and say, "Oh, look, hey, if you have Uplay installed on your system, you'll get extra little bits and bobs." It's like, I don't give a shit. Get out of my game. Give me the warning once and then leave. Yeah. But on PC, apparently, if you launch through Steam, you have to launch it through.
You do, yeah.
Like, no,
I suppose just thinking about the DRM thing. That also meant that in say 5 years' time, if they stop making the console and shut down the servers, your consoles.
Yes, that is pretty much what was going to happen. They were going to make it. Like, you would be. Well, they weren't going to. They didn't say that, but that's how everyone saw it. Like, okay, so Xbox Lives get shut down. The console can't phone home. So what happens to all your digital purchases? What happens to all the games that you have bought on physical media?
It's a brick.
It's all gone.
It's like new Xbox released. Buy it now. Oh, sorry, you want to buy it? Okay, your Xbox is dead. Goodbye.
Yeah, pretty much. So, what
useful for tying around Bill Gates' ankles before you push him into a dock, I suppose.
That was what we did with the original Xbox. The original Xbox One, Microsoft, the first one.
If Bill Gates is even responsible for any of this, I'm just going straight to him because he's Microsoft figurehead. Whoever's responsible.
He's not really a figurehead anymore. He's pretty much retired from Microsoft.
Yeah, he's busy curing plague.
He's still the puppet master. We know what he's doing.
So back to the Kinect. So they tell us it's an essential feature. They said every game would need it. You'd have to have a Kinect. You must have it. You cannot play any game without Kinect. It is essential. It will never work without Kinect. That was basically it, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
They've now decided to drop the Kinect from the console. You don't actually need it.
So basically what they've gone and done is they said, oh, yep, the DRM stuff, the always on internet connection that's baked into the firmware, you need it. Gone. Kinect. Baked in, you need it. Oh, look, it's gone. Because they did say for a while, oh, hey, well, now you can disconnect it. And so a lot of people were just like, oh, right, fine, gone. You know, they just disconnected it and put it away. As soon as Microsoft said you could do that, it's gone. Now they stopped selling the console with the Kinect at all. Loads of people are butthurt about it. People who bought the Xbox are like, what the fuck are we going to do with this? No one's going to support it now. If you're not selling it with the console, no one's going to make anything for this.
Exactly. It's and the thing is, you've told people that they need to have it, and they've had to spend the extra money for the Kinect. It's not like the console just dropped in price naturally through depreciation. It's you need this money, you need to buy it, so you've had to spend extra for it, and now you're buying it without the Kinect. I mean, one of the many games that require? So were the ones released from launch? They actually require the Kinect to work? Or
I don't honestly know, but a lot of the features that they were saying were, great that you needed the Kinect for. But the idea that you could give the Xbox voice commands, which would be kind of like what Rainbow Six 3 did on Xbox.
I've had a play with this. My friend's got an Xbox One, and the amount of times the Xbox just doesn't ever listen to him is brilliant. We started trying to talk to it in different accents to see what would work the best. Xbox One responds rather well to South African, but not much to anything else.
No, I was going to say that I could imagine it being geared mostly towards American accents, and then it would kind of fail with everything else.
Yeah, we found our South African accent worked the best. I don't know why, but yeah.
Personally,
we tried it in Yorkshire.
That's what they did the QA testing.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Microsoft.
We had a Geordie accent on there, all types of American accents.
I did see some really crazy and stupid statistic where Microsoft were trying to justify the Kinect being there. Like, oh yeah, loads of people are using the Xbox voice commands and stuff. So you have the people gamers are embracing the Kinect, and I was thinking to myself,
how lazy as hell do you have to be to go Xbox turn off rather than just pressing a button?
That's it. That was it. I was like, now it's funny you don't say what voice commands people are using. So like, oh yeah, majority of the Xbox One users are using the voice commands.
Yeah.
What ones? Because I'm almost certain it's going to be. I'm walking into the room. I can't remember where I put my control pad. Xbox on whilst I go and look for my control pad, or what was it? Xbox record that to DVR a little bit of the gameplay, to capture a little bit of the gameplay, or Xbox off, or
Xbox, give me my money back.
Yeah, pretty much. And it was like the obvious commands: Xbox on, Xbox off, Xbox play, whatever. That doesn't mean it's an essential piece of kit and that people are embracing it. It just means they're too fucking lazy to get off their asses and turn on the damn system.
Yeah.
It just starts to happen when the control pads have on buttons on the damn things.
It's like saying...
I'll tell you something now. I used to have a friend who had the original Xbox. He is the laziest person I've ever known, but I almost admired it. He used to have a rack with hooks on, and he put all these game discs on hooks. And it actually sounds like harder work than just getting up and turning the damn console on. He'd get his stick with a hook on the end, hit the console to turn it on, would hook a disc and get it into the disc tray, and then play his games. He used to do this every time, and I was just like, if it worked, I might admire it, but it was just like...
I looked
at the time.
Console, you didn't press the button, you just whacked the damn thing.
I don't know this. He sat there one day and thought, I can't be bothered to get out of this. What I need is some hooks. I mean, I must admit, I'm admiring the amount of thought and time and planning went into doing this.
I could not believe it when I saw it. It was just the most ridiculous thing I'd ever seen. But yeah, this is pretty much what we're embracing here, isn't it?
It is going to turn into like Wall-E, isn't it? Where all the people just sit in chairs, not moving, too fat to actually move. They can't speak to each other. They have to talk to each other through instant messenger and whatever. And they'll all have their connects and they'll be sat there.
Your voice contact
Xbox, order me a cheeseburger. That sort of thing.
That is brilliant. That's like quote of the day. Xbox, order me a cheeseburger.
Oh my God. Are we going to get like Xboxes falling for spousal abuse and things like this now?
Sure. I want a HAL mod for the Xbox. I'm sorry, user, I cannot do that.
Now,
Xbox, close this tray door.
Showdown Xbox.
The other thing with the Kinect was people were really bugged out about privacy, weren't they? Because it was always going to be turned on. It was.
Sorry, I just had to.
I must admit, I thought this was stupid. If I'm honest.
I mean, considering we've got phones that are pretty much always connected.
Yeah. The idea that the Xbox, the Kinect is spying on you. I know Microsoft can be a bit like, but I don't. That's going to be extreme. That the Xbox is spying. It's going to start sort of dobbing you in.
Yeah, but no one complains about the fact your laptop has got microphones and cameras on.
I know. See, the one
I think the thing is, advertising the Xbox is actively listening for you. But I want to know, what are you going to say? At what state are you going to get into where you might want to be something private? You know, do you, in a moment of passion, do you shout Xbox on? And record this.
I'm sorry,
do you do that in a moment of passion?
In our favourite place in the our favourite place in the entire world, Xbox probably would be used for this.
Probably. Not saying a word, Kim.
No, probably.
But
with its one game that we will go into later.
Now, 2 games. There's 2 games.
Oh.
Now I'm curious. So we've said that the whole privacy concern thing was crap, and that scrap is a bit of a turd move on Microsoft's part.
It smells of slight desperation, doesn't it?
It is desperation. They're getting their asses handed to them. They're not really doing that much better than the Wii U right now. So, and I say that as a Wii U owner. So I'm not knocking the Wii U either. But
but when you see that the Xbox last generation.
Maybe that's why they dug up all those copies of ET. Microsoft's that desperate.
Which I'm not.
New system seller, ET.
That's another one that wasn't true. But,
well, we did this on last podcast anyway.
But no, so I'm just gonna lost where we were going with the whole Connect thing.
Privacy. Are you think that's going to lead on nicely into our next section, our next news story?
No, I was just going to ask: has scrapping the Connect changed anyone's mind? Would anyone buy?
No.
No, I didn't think so.
No.
Have we got any new comments?
No one likes us anymore. No one's watching us anymore.
Probably not.
The quality's absolutely tired, and we're talking about shite.
Right.
Fair enough. Well, as I said, it leads on quite nicely.
Wait, no, that was it. Sorry, I have to say it now. What the hell? What? You were saying that last generation, the Xbox, what?
I would say it was you ask anybody.
Because it wasn't the winner of last
generation. I know it wasn't the winner of last
generation.
No, it wasn't.
Not the winner of last generation.
It was, yeah. But I'm saying in terms of between them and Sony, they were quite reasonably evenly matched, were they not?
Yeah, Sony caught up towards the end.
That makes me feel horrible.
I can't remember if Xbox actually finished last generation.
I'm saying it's a bit odd. It's a bit odd that this one. It seems that the Xbox games haven't moved on to the Xbox One. The Xbox 360, we're seeing PS3 games that took on the PS4.
No, everyone took on PS4 because they were sick and tired of hearing DRM shite being shoved down their throats. That was why. As soon as Microsoft said, that was it. Always on, your disc could get registered to your console. That was why it was always on. Your game would get registered to your system. The license would be tied to that system. If you took it around to your mate, they'd have to pay to play your disc. They would have to actually purchase a digital license. They'd have to purchase a key to play the game on their system.
That's stupid.
And they wonder why we're all dirty pirates.
That's why
they did it.
Sorry, you think if we lived in a world where if you had a DVD and you played it in your DVD player, and then you went next door when you started telling it to a friend, and they said, "Oh, sorry, this DVD is registered with so and so's DVD player. You can't use it." You think that was stupid, but for gamers, just let this happen. We just allow us to be walked over us. And more importantly, what happens when the Xbox One inevitably breaks down and you have to get a replacement one?
Yeah.
I'm so glad you mentioned that before going on to the next segment because, so a mate of mine picked up.
We've been here before, haven't we, with the 3DS, is it? Because you lose all your stuff on 3DS if your 3DS happens to break.
Yeah, because it's tied in, but that's the same with the Wii U, but still. Nintendo will actually get your stuff back off of a broken Wii U if you send them the Wii U to get a replacement.
Still kind of
I'll also just quickly point out PS3, I know from myself, personal experience, if your PS3 crashes, anything on the hard drive is encrypted, you can't get it off easily. So you've had it.
That's why they included a backup feature, though.
Yes, but if you didn't use said backup feature, like my mother and sister didn't, you lost everything.
And all I will say there is tough shit, because that's the other reason why they brought out PlayStation Plus.
Yes.
So, I just can't, no.
Xbox.
I've just completely flipped out. Xbox on.
Luke, work. Luke, start working.
I really have just started.
Xbox dying, losing all your stuff.
Yeah, that was it. Not that the Xbox was losing all your stuff, but a mate picked up an Xbox One, and I laughed. I mean, I said, "Look, what the hell did you buy that for?" And he always jokes back and says, "I love my VCR," because that's another thing I have to go into after this. But he has already had 2 units fail on him, from what I understand.
Right, so what's on to his games then?
Well, it doesn't matter because they've took off the DRM stuff, haven't they? So.
Right, okay. But if he had
the DRM stuff was in place, he'd have been
screwed. Yeah.
Well, I think it'd have been tied more to his account rather than.
Oh, so if it's tied to your account, that would be at least a little.
But your account, if by the original policies, your account wasn't allowed to leave home for any period of time without connecting to the internet, kind of thing. Like you could allow someone else to use your account on another system for a period of time.
Right,
But
okay.
they'd have to constantly go online to check.
To be fair, we could play this, but I suppose it's no difference to really Steam, because once you've got a game on Steam, you can't use it on. You can't like lend it to somebody else to use.
Which is fair, but let's be completely honest. One, there ain't no disk drive in my PC. Two, I ain't lugging that thing about. It's like fucking 3 feet tall.
No, but what I'm saying is it's in that respect, it's not much different than in saying
No,
that's
what Microsoft were trying to do. They were like, hey, PC gamers are cool with Steam. It's like, yeah, guys, but you're not Steam aren't giving us fucking discs.
They are noble and benevolent like Gaben.
He's going to turn to religion. I can just feel it happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that then reminds me of another little bit about the Xbox. Another chap I talked to online, a lot of his friends got Xbox Ones, and he posted up a picture on Facebook. And the post was Xbox One needs more games, and it was his friends list. And on the friends list, it was it tells you what they're doing or what they're playing. Watching a movie, watching TV, watching Hulu, watching Netflix. No one was playing a game. No one. The Xbox One, I hate to say it, if you are a fan of the system, 1, you're a fucking idiot. 2, that console is garbage. 3, kill yourself.
Okay, cheerful.
Moving on. Other than Dan, you're allowed to live, mate, because that thing's failed on you so many times. It's just funny.
Moving on, so talking about privacy and stuff for the Xbox, I think it's worth mentioning that there's been a ruling of the EU this and they have basically said people have the right to be forgotten.
Yes, does this also tie into the thing where Google are now saying, all you have to do is like call them up or email them to get your house blurred on Google Maps?
I think they're doing a lot of that already, weren't they? But
no, but you had to jump through a lot of hoops, whereas now they're just like, fuck it, you don't need a reason, really. Just say this, you don't want your house to show up.
If you don't want people to realise you have a house.
Hey,
what's behind that blurred thing over there?
It always makes me curious, like if you've ever seen someone's house get blurred out, it's like, it's a still image of someone's house. Like, unless you were sat there having a wank and they could see you in the picture. And I'm curious.
At least wave when you're doing it.
I can understand blowing out faces. I can understand blowing out like number plates on cars. That's fair enough. I can understand that because people can't all clone them and copy them. I can understand that. But
you can do that walking down the street.
I know. But a house. But I mean, oh dear God, people just getting paranoid. It's ridiculous. Anyway.
But anyway, so that's forgotten on.
Basically, the idea is that the noble thought behind it, the sort of back reason behind it is, let's say something got published about yourself that wasn't true and it ended up in the newspaper, proven to be was false, wasn't true, was irrelevant or not accurate, anything like that. And it obviously got crawled by Google, I'm saying Google here, but actually in fact all search engines. But Google's the one that was involved in the court. They were involved in the court. They were involved in the court case.
Okay.
So they're ones who are sort of, that's why their names been pushed to the front.
Any other search engins?
No. If you use Bing, you're an idiot.
There you go. So I've just gone and told everyone that buys an Xbox One to kill themselves. Just gone and told everyone else that used another Microsoft product to get the stupid.
Bing is crap. Anyway. So the idea is, so if something's irrelevant, Google pick up, you have the right to say to Google, I want that link removed. They can't get rid of the content, obviously, because they don't own it, but they can say, I want that right to that link removed, so it doesn't show up in the Google search about me. That's the sort of idea behind it, that it protects you from perhaps malicious stuff being put on there. It protects you from that.
Is there any kind of rule to say what you can have removed? Like...
No, it's basically you can request. You have to put a request in, and most of all they've had so far 1,000 requests.
I bought an Xbox One. My friends are laughing at me.
Take the post off, please.
They can't move the post; just move the link to it.
Oh yeah.
And so about half the requests who went into Google requesting stuff deleted or information deleted are people with criminal convictions, including a couple who've got child pornography convictions, and they want those deleted from Google search. So if you search their name, it doesn't pop up they were once done for child pornography charges.
Okay, tough shit.
Yeah, that's basically my fault. You committed the crime, you've been found guilty. It's not like been maliciously found and it's not been found not guilty and it's sat round. You could argue that if it sits around for 10 years that you're found not guilty of a crime, you could perhaps argue that this is, if people are searching, people are going to see and get biased towards you. But if you've been found guilty of it, That's public interest.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's in the public domain. They should have interest in it.
Can I just say that the internet is a terrifying place these days, or the world is a terrifying place these days? Like, everything in the last, say, decade and a bit is kind of connected.
It goes
now.
both ways, doesn't it, though? I mean, there's the wonderful thing about the internet being like that, and the terrible side of the internet being like that. You can find everything that's horrible, you can find everything that's good. So, yeah,
no, I'm just saying that the fact that everything is connected. So, you know, like, think about it. When we all used to get pissed up as kids, or we'd all go down the pub, you wouldn't see us all, like,
you wouldn't be Facebook
everywhere on Facebook.
Nowadays, you go to the pub, you were tagged at a post at such and such a pub, then you have loads of photos of you getting pissed.
Yeah, exactly, and you have no control over any of this. Whereas, you know, normally if
you're a particular friend of mine on Facebook who gets really drunk and then has lots of horrible things happen to him and get put on video.
Yeah.
Well,
yes.
There you go.
Now imagine if a future employer searches his name in Google, that might pop up.
Yeah, exactly, but that's one of the terrifying things. I mean, but because the thing is, my rule of thumb on the internet is don't post things that you don't want to be discovered
absolutely.
or that you worry are going to upset people. Now, because I've been burnt by this kind of stuff before in the past. Like, I've said something, I've really pissed off a lot of people and saying it.
It's like when you go to a forum that you were on when you were a teenager and you think, oh shit, did I really say that?
Yeah, what the hell was I
What a stupid thing to say.
What a stupid child I was.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
That was really last week.
That's the thing. Is you're going to have teenagers growing up who are posting stuff on Facebook and stuff that at that time they think is really fat. In 10 years' time, they're going to regret.
Well, I don't know if you've ever seen any of the 2600 documentaries that have been posted. 2600, the hacker magazine. They had a private investigator do a series called "Privacy is Dead, Get Over It," and he's done a couple of versions of this down at Hope. Where basically he starts trying to educate people on what kind of stuff you can find on the internet, the kind of digital trail we're leaving behind. And it's like, well, you know what, these days people post things on their like Facebook profiles and MySpace profiles, back when MySpace was a thing, obviously, that they wouldn't even tell their own family.
No.
And so
it did become the personal diary that everyone can see, didn't it? Pretty much.
Well, exactly. And he said, I looked up someone here, and he says I just randomly searched for some people to kind of show you the kind of stuff you'd find. And he found a profile of this woman, or this young girl, and practically had a rack out on her profile picture. She says she likes casual drugs and all that kind of stuff, and weird kinky sex. And he's like, well, thank you for telling me that.
And then he was like, I'll add her to my friends
list.
He
He actually made the joke, so I'll make a note of where you are, and when I'm in there, I'll give you a ring, because obviously now people put their phone numbers on Facebook and stuff.
If they're idiots.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So
although Facebook, if I find something sneakily adds on without telling you.
Yeah, no, that is true. Facebook is a sneaky bastard, but then again,
damn you, Zuckerberg.
Yeah, I'd love to slap that kid, but
I got burnt by that because it said it offered extra verification by using your mobile number to extra verify, like Steam does with email.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, that's fine. I'm always in for a bit of security, so I put it on there. What it didn't tell me, it was then going to publish my phone number on my Facebook page.
Yeah, see, I won't touch anything like that on Facebook. Yeah. And 9 times out of 10, when you see information about me on Facebook, it's all fake. All of it's fake. I don't use my real name on Facebook. Like, this podcast is probably one of the only times I've ever used my real name on the internet, ever. Which is crazy because, you by searching my name, you would up until this point never find anything about me.
No.
My birthday isn't my real birthday on Facebook, which is kind of funny when you look at everyone says, "Oh, happy birthday" on Facebook. It's amazing to see how many of my friends don't actually know my actual birthday. They just follow what Facebook tells them.
To be fair,
I get the sense that I just think my life is so bloody mundane. You'd have to be a sad bastard to be looking into it. Just think.
But I think the thing of it is, it's not so much your life being mundane. It's people then looking you up. I mean, how many employers? I've never done it myself, but I have known of employers who've gone home, or managers who've gone home after interviewing a few people, gone to Facebook and searched for them.
Yeah, a lot of companies I've worked for have said they do that, and they said whatever you do. I can remember I've worked.
And then they go, "You're a boring bunch of tossers. All you do is make podcasts. We're not hiring you."
Yeah, pretty much. I've heard your podcast. It's turd. Go back to North Korea.
Yeah.
It's like, all right. I worked very briefly at one point at Odeon Cinemas in Norwich.
Yeah.
And one of the managers there said, "Look, if you're gonna go out and get shit-faced one day, for the love of Christ, don't put it on Facebook. Because if you call in sick the next day and we find out you've been
I've done that
before, you will be sacked. No questions asked.
Yeah, I have to admit I've done that before, where someone rang in sick, and I looked on his Facebook profile, and yes, I found out why he'd been sick, and yes, I rang him back and said, I think we'll have a word with you in the office on Monday.
Yeah, see, I mean that's the kind of thing people do not think about.
You are a horrible boss.
Good job.
Well, again, as it says, the trouble is, it's not just you putting stuff on there.
Everyone else.
Now you can be tagged in photos. It just takes one person to tag you in a photo.
Yeah.
And that's interesting because they're talking about this in one of the articles about this Google thing. If they
you get tagged in photos or pictures of Captain Hook, that's all right. So.
If there's talking about
in
relation to this Google thing, they were saying about if they extend this to social media like Facebook and stuff, and the right to have your Facebook. They want basically people to have the right to have their entire Facebook history deleted, everything about you gone. But they're saying, well, what happens with photos a friend takes of you? Is it their photo? Let's say me and you have a photo took together. I want my Facebook live deleted. That photo, if I'm in it, do I get that deleted? But it's your photo. It's an interesting situation.
I would say in which case, have your information removed.
Have the tag of you pulled off. Then there's no everyone's gonna be well, who the hell's that then? Unless they already knew that you were. If they'd already seen the tag, if they didn't know it was you to start with, then they're not really.
But it's a question there. But still, someone's got at one point. Someone's going to challenge
unless
that answer.
Unless the one is real.
And has made a decision
in
of
which case
who has that right over that photo. Is it the person who took it? Or is the person who's in it?
The person who took it.
You think logically.
The person who took it. Unless you were paid to take the photograph, in which case it belongs to the person who paid for it.
Unless you're a creepy stalker person who's just taking shitloads of photos of someone.
Well, damn, that's why I'm in trouble again, is it?
But then what if, still on the lines, if someone takes some photos of you that you rather not be, but say they snuck it up on you when you weren't looking, say you want to, just example, say you're going to the toilet, and someone bursts into the room, takes some photos of you, and puts them on Facebook. This is something's going to happen to somebody at some point.
I just say, well, it probably already has. Can I just say, depending on where the photograph is taken, is where your legal right stands. If, so for example, you were in a private restroom and someone came in and took a photograph of you, then you could actually have the person that took the photograph done for it.
Yeah. It just makes me think of Phil Magera.
If you are in a public place, and let's say, for example, I am trying to take a picture of, like a building over there or a statue or whatever, and you walk in my shop, if you come anywhere near me and tell me to delete that picture, I will knock you square the fuck out with my camera, because you have no right over that picture.
He's been playing too much Dead Rising.
Pretty much, just because you have walked into shot, you have no right over that picture at all. But that's something that people have to understand. You have no right to privacy in a public place. None. And I had the same rant to you about my quadricopter.
I think it's just a lot of the time it speaks to people's egos. I really couldn't give a damn about a lot of it, so I don't think I'm important enough to worry about that.
Well, it's no, can I just bring up the quadricopter thing again? Because I can't remember if I mentioned it.
Because he's still mad about it.
Well, I am actually. I'm still really pissed off because this does go into the whole privacy thing. And it's like I have a quadricopter. I have a DJI Phantom 2, which I have a camera on to shoot events.
Right.
And get different. I like to get different. I like aerial photography. It's kind of cool to me. It's kind of neat. Same with if you were to launch a weather balloon with a camera attached to it. That's kind of neat on a time lapse function. But either way. So I was flying on the field down the back here, and this is before I even had a camera attached to the damn thing. And a couple of days later, I think it might have even just been the next day, the police turned up. And the police wanted to inspect all of my camera equipment to find out what exactly it was I was doing, flying a quadricopter anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, what is it? Your neighbor is concerned that it's a spying device. It's like, my neighbor doesn't have shit. I am not interested in my neighbors. They could have, I don't know, the world's greatest Elvis collection. Don't give a damn. They might think it's the world's greatest thing. I don't give a toss. They could have a chair made out of gold bars. I don't give a toss.
The Elvis one sound.
I just don't. give a crap enough about them to waste my time filming them, and if they're paranoid enough to think that I'm filming them or I'm doing something to spy on them, that makes me wonder what the hell it is they're trying to hide. Again, that goes back
to what I said. It's like an ego thing. I really couldn't care because my ego's not big enough to worry. I'm just like, whatever. I'm in a photo that happens to be in like a shop or something.
It's trouble is people have been so riled up about all this stuff in the newspaper, like all these drones in America going on about it. People have been riled up by the whole thing. I think people just watch too many films.
Yeah, well, I mean, I spoke to the police officer that came around and I said to him, like, basically took one look at my desk, and on my desk I've got like 4 different cameras. I've got boxes of lenses next to my desk, and he was like, okay, that's fine.
Sorry, you're gonna have to edit that out, I'm afraid.
Right, just like tough.
You can see it flying out into
yeah.
If you look carefully, you'll see the paint just starting to come off the wall just there.
But, I mean, so they let me off on that one. They were like, well, you're right. So I was like, to be fair, you don't have any privacy from the sky, and you have no rights over any of my equipment anyway.
Damn you, Sky! Well, stop looking at me!
But that's what I said to him. I was like, you don't have to ask my permission to fly your helicopter over my house. Just because you're the police doesn't mean you have a right to fly over my house.
And they film with the helicopters. They have to
exactly.
film.
They constantly fly. They're constantly
to make those crap TV
doing.
shows that are always on.
Hey, I like those programs.
So, but that's what I said to him. Like, no one complains when the police flies over their house.
Oh look, we've still got predator vision on them. And watching the dude run away with a bag of weed.
Yeah, it's fun.
I don't complain when people fly their kind of little like Cessnas and that, like the little light aircraft and that over my house. I have no right to tell them you ain't allowed to fly over my house.
No.
Same as I don't complain when
Google,
exactly.
satellite phones.
I was like, no one has complained, well, now obviously, when Google fly over and take pictures of your backyard. So
what's the difference?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. So I was like, so let's say you've got a 6-foot
Damn
fence.
you, Superman! You're not allowed to look at my house with your X-ray vision.
Well,
stop it!
Go. I mean, stop looking at me having a wank in my back garden. So well, then stop doing it. You
stop
prick.
abusing your superpowers.
That's like the other thing I say to people is like, if you're that worried about privacy, then stop doing it where people can easily see you. Like, because if you've got a 6-foot fence. And someone 7 foot tall just kind of walks along and starts kind of glancing about, and he can see over your fence. What are you going to do? Do him for spying? Because your fence ain't tall enough? You have no privacy from the sky. I'm just imagining
some dopey giant looking around and we're like, oh, wow, what's going on?
Hello!
I just
How are you?
The giant just kind of looking at your fence and just kind of waving.
Morning.
That would be amazing.
Why are you two naked?
But that just winds me up. People are just so... They think their lives are so important and that everything they do is
just going to go and say it was his birthday the other day, so happy birthday, Andre. You're a legend.
Yep, good job, Andre.
God bless. Good old chap.
But yeah, I've just gone off on a bit of a rant there.
That's what
you have no right to privacy these days. Yeah. If you want privacy, get away from the fucking internet. Get away from all the cameras on the streets. I mean, in the UK, you're on camera, at least like 250 times.
In London, you are,
yeah. Which is fucking ridiculous.
There's any one day you'll be cut by 300 security cameras.
Exactly. So stop being a bunch of fucking whiny pussies. Disconnect from the internet, disconnect from life, and sod off to some place out in the sticks.
Yeah.
That's the only way you're going to have privacy. Sarcastic air quotes. Yeah. Until some random farmer bloke starts peering in your back window.
Hello.
Or a random
Who
giant.
are?
Some random giant.
Who happens to be a farmer.
Someone turned that into a shirt.
Yeah.
Saying.
I mean, the other thing I personally think is how they think Google or any search is actually going to be able to enforce this. You imagine if
everyone did it.
Just imagine that a newspaper article about you doing something was in 100 newspapers, which then got put onto blog sites, which then got put onto Facebook. How Google's got to go through all that and filter it. I mean, you search for something like, even if you search for us now, we're not the most popular possible, but there's a few thousand hits pop up.
Yep.
So someone will go through every page and see, okay, is this about that? Is this about that?
I'm curious. Look, so they would obviously have to submit a specific link, and then Google would obviously only link block.
Well,
no. Well,
the way it's been phrased is that they have to remove information about a certain. The way people seem to be requesting is about removing certain types of information, such as
a lot of work.
Exactly.
This is not a link about so and so.
That's what I'm saying. Is who's going to have this job of actually administrating this? I don't think it may be something they do legally, but I don't think that anyone's actually going to legally that physically. I don't think they're going to be able to do it.
No, they probably won't.
anything that becomes semi-public information is going to get spread so quickly these days through so many things. You've got Twitter, you've got Facebook. Censoring all is just not physically possible, and it is censorship.
Which is good.
I mean,
It is censorship.
We don't like the censor.
Can I just as well go on? I'm talking about our digital trails and stuff. I think Ubisoft Watch Dogs, they bought out a website like digitalshadow.com or something like that, and you could type in your Facebook account details, and what it would do is it would kind of quite cleverly tie in all of your information and profile you.
Right.
Using kind of like the Watch Dogs system, so it's like who you were, how old you were, whether you were married, basically it was your Facebook profile, but kind of ramped up how much you were worth, the kind of person you were based on the type
So
of
like when
posts
you're in Watchdog, when you scan somebody, that little information, it could do it for you.
that was it.
That's kind of cool.
And it would use your Facebook account. It's like people who you are, your biggest liabilities kind of thing in life. Like let's say for example, someone wouldn't shut the fuck up talking about you, and was spilling everything about you. Bam, they're at the top of the list. People who you talk to, but you use negative keywords with, that would then get put on there, like your greatest enemies are most likely to stab you in the back, kind of thing. That would get put on this site.
I want to have a go at this. We can do this later.
And,
link in the show notes.
Yeah, we should do it. Yeah.
It was quite terrifying how much stuff like people were like, whoa, shit, they actually have this on.
Have you ever used the bot? That it's like a bot, and it'll have your name bot, and it will repeat. It will make gobbledygook or various words that you've used in statuses, mix them all up, and then make statuses itself. It's quite interesting.
We've been set a challenge, sort of. You give me a piece of info, and I'll see if I can find you. Oh, so who should we give information on?
Well, in fairness, we've already given out our names.
We've already given out our names. I don't know what we can do really. So, well, let's say. Okay.
I mean, what kind of information are you looking to find? I mean, what would you actually try to find?
Yeah.
So we can actually see what could we give you that would possibly lead you to that?
Yeah.
I'm curious.
I mean, if I gave you a name and my job, you'd instantly find my Facebook page, although my page is private, so you'd find it, but you wouldn't be able to see anything, because there's actually a private page. I don't know what we can give to do it. Give us an idea what information to give you.
No, just get find something random.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, really.
I'm curious how this would go. I mean,
what about we ask a question? Let's say, okay, we've never actually mentioned like which university you went to.
Mm-hmm.
So give us so find out which university you went to.
Or what college we
went to. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So because we went to the same college, so I'll narrow it down.
We all did at some point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, everyone's gonna be able to profile this.
Okay, so pay attention, okay. We're going to give you names, and your job is to find what college we went to, and if you can find what course we did.
Oh, this will be fun.
Okay, so I'm Nicholas Jackson.
I'm Adam Thorne, with an E.
With an E. And I'm Luke Roberts.
So that's your challenge. Find out which college we went to, and you get a bonus point if you find out which course we did. Because we did different courses, some of us, so let's see if we find both. Okay.
This is a good challenge.
This is good.
Fun time.
I'll be more scared if he comes back and he actually does find it.
I'll
be
more scared if we read his name and it's Kim Jong.
Now I know where you live. I send Yorkshire Terriers round
You come be my guest.
You want to come my way podcast, don't you?
As long as we get a roll in
the game,
on it. It'd be awesome.
No, so...
But yeah, that's kind of the whole...
Get to hang out with Kim and Rodman.
I think they'll be able to do it. The other fourth thinking I have about it is, what are they saying about Google doesn't actually own any of this information. It's not theirs. So it is, this is what I'm saying, it is censorship. Google are being asked to...
Didn't they do this in the States not that long back, where people were filing to have certain information removed?
I don't know.
From Google, and Google like, well, we can kind of shut down the links, but we don't own that information, so I'll just get picked up somewhere else. So unless you were to, file a complaint with everyone, unless you were going to file a complaint with the internet, then you're pretty much boned here. It's there. Someone's already made a copy of it. I mean, I could post a really offensive tweet, and within about, I don't know, half a second delete it, but people have already seen it and probably already saved it.
That's the old adage is new adage now is internet never forgets.
Yep.
Anything you do, the internet does not forget it, no matter how hard. It's like all these big companies like to hide their distance past. It's like all the old, all the old cartoons that used to have all racist imagery and all racist caricatures in them. They pretend they don't happen anymore. They don't mention any of their histories. They never mention it, or they re-edit them. They change them. Internet remembers. Internet's still got them all on there.
Which is a good thing.
Which is a good thing.
Google have actually screwed up their archive. They've tweaked a bit of their archive. There are two versions of Google's archive. One that's made by another group, and one kind of maintained by Google.
Right.
The one maintained by Google is different from the one that was cached by.
Oh, okay.
Company. Google have actually gone back in time and kind of started filling the old.
Have they?
A little bit. Right. So what was that profile word?
He asked that. I think he asked that when we said what information did you want before we gave the challenge, because we've got them as a time delay.
That's the Ubisoft thing. Just look up Watch Dogs, and that will probably have a.
And you'll get Anne Robinson and some rubbish stuff going on.
Cool. Yeah, just have a look on. Just Google it. Yeah. So I can't actually remember what the site address was, but.
It's. I mean, I think the people who make play are probably people who didn't really. I mean, I say we grew up with the internet. We sort of did, but we were sort of later people to the internet. We haven't grown up with it. Your kids are growing up with the internet. They'll never know a world without the internet.
I didn't have internet till I was about 16, 17.
I remember actually when the day we got dial-up connection. I was amazed by this world that suddenly appeared. Like, wow,
information
this place
at your fingertips. It's pretty crazy.
And it took a few minutes to load. It was amazing. It was amazing, at the time.
It's like information Commodore speed.
So we sort of were young enough to understand what the internet is, but I think the people mainly compare are people who are too old to understand. I mean, let's take those people we had a few episodes back, but once who posted all their stolen stuff they did on Facebook.
Yeah, but that happens a lot now.
Yeah, what I'm saying is they put that on Facebook.
Is stupid.
They can now
I'm thick, but some of these people out there are.
So are they now going to go to Google and say, okay, I want that any reference to that deleted?
Not me.
Not you, but them.
Seriously, if I post something up and I fucked up and I've got in trouble for it, and I have in the past, tough shit, I posted it. It's my problem. If you were an idiot and kind of like, I don't know, kicked someone's head in or, stole something, and then you decided for the lols you were going to post a selfie with it, you're a fucking idiot.
And you deserve to be found. You deserve that information.
You deserve to be punished.
No, that information deserves to be recorded there. I mean, whether you want to argue, I mean, suppose a counter-argument is, let's say I committed a silly crime when I was 18, let's say I stole a car. I didn't, but let's say I did when I was 18, and it got on the news about it. Let's say I went on sort of a massive drive, I didn't have it. Something that was an actual crime, but it was relatively minor.
Mind you, where we live, you didn't get laughed at if it was a shit car.
Yeah, so I did this, stole a car, got away of it, not got away, but I got caught, got on the newspaper. 12 years later, I go to apply for a job. My boss Googles me, finds at one point when I was 18 I stole a car, and then said, shall I give them the job?
Well, so at the end of the day, all I'm going to say is it's up to the manager of the place to use common sense.
Exactly.
But no one has common sense.
A lot of people don't know. They just see...
criminal record. No chance. So...
Oh, we've had a reply. Oh, no, thank you for the information we get. I think that's thank you for your...
Cool.
Okay.
Nice one.
I'm really nervous now. It's just gonna.
Well, in fairness, I don't really care because I've been posting. Here's a big hint. I've been posting every single day of my life.
Got it.
Has he?
Let's see.
That's not exactly difficult, in fairness. We have mentioned that before.
No, I know, but still.
Isn't that mentioned on the...
Bravo, sir. Bravo.
No, it's not mentioned on the pot on anything.
Good job. Wait, hang on a minute. How come you're getting comments faster than I am? Whatever.
Oh my... Right.
Good job, son. Good job.
Well done.
There you go.
That was worrying, actually.
I mean, this like I was just saying though, I've posted a video every day of my life now for nearly 3 years online to document this and that, and I don't really care what people find anymore. Like 3 years ago, I'd have probably been like, oh wow, like I wouldn't use Amazon because they cached information about me. I wouldn't use I wouldn't buy anything off iTunes. I wouldn't search unless I was going through a VPN or whatever.
Keep under the radar.
No, I was, and I did a pretty damn good job.
Have you ever watched Enemy of the Estate?
No.
Oh. Have you watched Enemy of the Estate?
No.
Oh. This reference ain't gonna work.
That's really asked it. Have you watched?
If you watch Enemy of the Estate, Gene Hackman's character, you'll see what I mean if you've ever watched it.
But no, it's just like these days I don't give a toss.
Hackman.
Like if anyone is really that interested to dig up information on me, it's like people were like, "Wow, you have." People started asking me about my real name in the videos I was posting up because I've always gone by my nickname.
Yeah.
And someone actually went through and watched all of my videos, every single one of them for the last 3 years, and it actually turns out it only took me 6 days to leak my name. But you had to have actually looked.
He's found out what I did my degree in now.
Yep. Good job.
Right.
Good job.
You've gone from helpful commenter
to slightly creepy commenter.
Slightly creeping Nick out a bit here.
Keep going.
Do it.
I'm going to email Google.
For great justice.
I think that was absolutely brilliant. That's brilliant.
That's
what I mean. Like, that's how
2 bits of information, and he's found out where I went to college and what I got my degree in.
Well, see, that goes back to the whole Privacy is Dead, Get Over It thing from the Hub conference and that. That is exactly what the private investigator said. Was he's like, dude, I basically just need your name and I can pull up everything about you.
Yeah.
Everything about you. And he's like, right, I took this guy, like this guy wrote a book and said, now the guy actually offered, he said I could do this check on him if I wanted to, just to kind of prove a point. And he took the guy's name, he got his name, address, social security number.
That's true, yes. Excellent, well done.
You got Adam Thorne's one now. Well, you're one away from getting the whole lot.
You are.
GG. Good luck, sir.
If you get Luke's...
Clearly, I'm a talented actor, so...
I'm not hard to find.
Time well spent.
Yeah, if you get Luke's, once we've got Luke's and you've got information, I will say, please stop.
Yeah. No, I was going to say...
This is actually creeping me out now.
3 years ago, you might have had a bit of a challenge. These days, not at all. No. My information is everywhere, so, like I say, I make no effort to hide what I do.
You ever seen Dead Poets Society? I'm going to make like that kid in Dead Poets Society now and kill myself because everybody knows I was an actor.
I was an actor! Yeah, you did a good job there. You ended up on a shitty podcast with 2 other geezers. Thank you, good sir. Well, that's kind of public knowledge now for the last 12 podcasts.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah, that's still good.
That is. I think you have got the official round notes. Congratulations.
But there you go.
Well done.
Achievement unlocked.
It's achievement unlocked. Yeah, well done.
Have a free Xbox One. Good stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
bring up Microsoft about it.
I'm pleased with that someone's actually made the connection without me having to dance around and jump through hoops.
Yeah.
Then again, I have posted no end of shit linking to this podcast. So.
Yeah, but it's time takes to find it. That is.
None at all.
I said I am really impressed. Well done.
Good job. Keep watching.
Keep watching, and please stop now.
That was brilliant. No, I actually think that was.
That is good. This is what.
But now this is a really good example of why the fuck you should be careful about what you post.
Exactly.
If you don't want it to be discovered, then don't post it up. I mean, some of the shit we say here could get us into a fair bit of trouble.
What was it 5 minutes? 5 minutes, and he's managed to find. Well, he's managed to find both me and Adam's. What we studied. He's found out your real name. Your real name. Not found your real name. He's found out your pursuit.
Yeah, he's found my pen name. So.
And it's only took 5 minutes. So yeah. I can't.
Just don't post stuff.
Yes, it does prove it's scary.
Yeah, just don't post things that you don't want to have discovered. You know. I know some people that thought they were being really clever and sneaky and hiding. This is at this point. This is around the time when I started going public with who I was online, and this dude thought
that like he's Bruce Wayne. This is the time I started telling everybody.
Well, no, but like I always used nicknames. I would never tell you who I was online.
Iron Man has come out. He's Tony Stark.
There you go. But like this guy was trying to do what I was doing. He was trying to stay completely off the grid while still using the internet. And he thought he was being really, really clever until I pulled up his name, his address, his phone number, and where he worked. All from his nickname. I was like, good job, son. Good job. You idiot.
I think, to be honest, it's one of those things, if you start using the internet, you've got to give up the idea of
you have to give up privacy.
If you're going to use the internet in any meaningful way, you've got to give up the idea of privacy. You just simply
that's
can't.
What I said when I started using...
They just do not go together.
That's what I said when I started using, as stupid as it sounds. So I started using Amazon because when shopping centres and that, they track what you do with your club card and that. Amazon do that, don't they?
Shall I tell you
so
something?
Try and profile you. But I gave up. So I refused to use Amazon, knowing they would kind of pull my information and sell it.
Advertise to you.
Well, I thought to myself, you know what? This service is so fucking convenient. I don't mind so much giving up.
It was interesting because I went to a trade conference not so long ago, and I was speaking to a guy there, and they had software that was used in the States, and it's going to be they want to looking at introducing it over here. Mm-hmm. And it basically it could track customers by their mobile phones when they entered the store. Mm-hmm. It knew where they were, it knew what departments they're in, and what it would do is it would also be tracking your employees. This is where it gets scary. Mm-hmm. If it was to a customer, say, looking around TVs in your store, it would go, okay, you're looking around TVs, okay, this customer, and they would say, oh, this customer's starting to use his mobile a lot. So is he, A, researching it, in which case you've got no staff there to sort of help him, he needs their staff, or B, he's looking for a cheaper price. You need to get staff there straight, and it'd tell you a message. You need to send staff to see this guy now. It would tell it by the fact he was using his mobile to search the internet. Yeah. Couldn't tell what he was searching, but it knew it was doing it.
Yeah.
And it would tell you what stuff. That's just scary now. But what was more interesting was people could sign up to it to let their information be shared. And the guy said something like, people aged between like 20 and 30, 8% of them would happily share information. Mm-hmm. Whereas anyone saw and it gradually dropped down as people got older. To the time when people like the 50s, most wouldn't happy sharing information. Mm-hmm. To show that younger most people in younger generation are more aware of this and more open to it. Mm-hmm. And people share information. Not only would it pick up when they come into the store, it'd say, okay, and what I'm going to do then now for you is say, okay, you're in the store now. Okay, you can't. Last time I know how much you spend on average. I know how much it is. So here's some offers tailored to you. I won't tell them they're tailored to you, but here's some offers for you. Mm-hmm. And it'd pick up and feedback. It was quite scary actually how it could do it.
Skynet.
It is. Right. It is connected.
They're going to destroy us by giving us bargains.
Yeah, go on.
Right, so they can't find my educational details. Okay, then so spin-off then. Do I have any siblings?
Oh.
That's a bit of a juicy one.
Oh, there you go. Challenge 2.
A simple yes or no will do, but
yeah, when it comes to their entire life history, or if you have siblings. Actually, I don't know if you have or not.
To find out he's got hundreds and hundreds, and he's actually related to those rats that were on that boat out in the ocean.
They were my rats.
It pops up.
I'm not related. They are my rats.
His name is Luke Kim Jong Roberts.
I am a distant relative to Kim Jong. That would actually be kind of funny. What up, bro?
Shall we go on to flashback?
Yes, please.
Okay, flashback.
You've got until the end of flashback. Good stuff.
Flashback, which won't take very long.
Good stuff, whatever.
The Walking Dead Season 2, Episode 3 released. Oh my god, it's fantastic. Buy it now.
Yeah,
buy it.
About the PC game.
Buy it. PC game, yes. Season 3 episode, Season 2 episode 3.
It is available on other consoles.
Forget about them. Buy
Savage.
Walking Dead. It is utterly fantastic. It had me on the edge of my seat, the whole thing. Storyline is good, the voice acting is perfect, the characterization is perfect.
Good job.
You've got to buy it.
There you go, gush fest over.
Okay. We talked about last time. We talked about my mistake of George Orwell with Michael Orwell, and then we said what did he do? And so I thought I'd Google him. It turns out he's a producer at the BBC. Because I actually said I think he was one who did the music for the Exorcist, but actually didn't.
Really? I don't remember that far back.
That was Mike Oldfield.
Mike Oldfield, yeah.
And I actually mixed the names and Googled George Oldfield, who turned out to be a British detective.
There you go.
Is it a dog?
And we can exclusively reveal that yes, you can buy Kim Jong-un bobblehead. and indeed we shall be purchasing one to have sat on the podcast table in future.
Absolutely.
When obviously when the podcast and all the technical limitations are fixed for our dear leader.
Yeah. Actually, do you ever see the satellite they put up into space?
Was it tinfoil? And
Yeah, but it actually played patriotic music, but it was like sort of like Amiga style music. It went on ding dong boom ding dong boom.
Wow.
It was really quite hilarious.
That's awesome.
Yeah, at least it got a satellite into space, which is more than I can say for what I've done in my life.
I've done tons of stuff in my
Well, you
life.
put a satellite in space.
Yeah.
How do you know?
I put people out in space.
Oh, fair enough.
Tied them to weather balloons.
Oh.
Many of them.
Okay, so
Thousands of them.
weird news. Our favourite section.
I love the fact that weird news has something that relates to the last thing we just said. No, not
Well,
me sending people into
This
space.
is actually weird news that Adam picked up that I thought I'd better put in. So Adam, do you want to? I'll let you do this weird news.
Kim Jong-un to star in a video game.
Called
I didn't know the name. What's the
Glorious Leader.
name? Ah.
I'm surprised people
And
haven't
it-
picked up.
Have you
It's-
not
it's-
watched? Have you not watched the teaser trailer?
It's worked on by Dennis Rodman, the basketball player who travels to North
What the
Korea
fuck is with
often
basketball players
because
in video
he's
games
friends
these
with
days?
Kim Jong-un.
Because he's friends with Shaquille
It
O'Neal.
is it looks like a two-dimensional side-scrolling shooter in the vein of Contra.
Where you
Funnily
shoot,
enough.
but you shoot American paratroopers, American tanks, and at the very end you burn the American flag.
Yeah.
So
And you ride along on a flaming horse. It looks fantastic.
it
I
does,
wanna play
and
it.
that's a unicorn actually, because obviously North Korea have found a unicorn.
Ah,
It doesn't look anything like a horse with a horn stapled to the head. They have actually got a unicorn. They've got.
is it in the zoo with you?
No, they found its
Yorkshire
remains.
Terriers.
They found
It
its
says a
fossil.
horse. It's
No,
a horse with a corners.
no, it's they found the fossils.
I think the coolest bit is there's a little bit in it where he's talking to Dennis Rodman and then he jumps up and down on a little basketball court area and it turns out it's an elevator. I just thought that's so cool.
It's
He's got an elevator built into the basketball court.
North Korea have also found my corpse.
Well,
look, North Korea
do you know,
found everything.
people are complaining about this game. Do you know people complain about Glorious Leader? You know what they complain about? They're saying it makes light of the horrific regime. Well, it's called satire. It's called making fun of things.
Command and Conquer do that.
Well, my argument to that is, again, let's go back to the 1940s. Every cartoon series you had during World War II
yeah.
had them taking on Hitler in comical ways. They had him batting around the head of a.
Look at classic comic books.
Exactly, of course,
And
what they did.
Some of them were really dodgy when you sort of look back.
Me? No.
Is
What's
he
it
close?
Hmm?
Is he close?
No.
No. You are quite mysterious.
I have been to the Seagull Theatre.
But never worked there.
Yeah.
No, basically, all right, fair enough. Yeah, so it isn't a mockery. It's gonna be fun. We should really put that into games we're looking
I
forward
think I
to.
can see what the connection there is, though. That's something from my Facebook, not yours.
There you go.
But no, I have never worked.
Now
Theatre.
on to the proper weird news.
Nice people at Seagull Theatre, though, by the way. If you're ever in the area, go check them out.
Yeah, cool fair.
Right, so there's some sort of big football game, something coming up in the future where they kick a load of balls around. They find out who's the best in sort of
Which kind
football.
of football are we talking about?
The proper kind of football, not
Real
Who's the
football.
most dramatic
Not
tosser?
not rugby with arm that the Americans have. It's proper football.
Alright. It's proper football where men throw themselves onto the grass and cry and go,
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
Rather than protecting the crown jewels,
Yeah,
they try and
yeah.
protect their
Oh,
legs.
I've banged my shit on the ground. Oh, mummy, mummy.
my feet have
Oh,
touched the
mummy. Yeah. Yeah, that football.
Kiss my boo-boo, coach.
Well,
Kiss my boo-boo.
I fear that there's going to be more problems come this football because not only do they have to worry about other fans and team tactics, they've also got to worry about warlocks. Mexico's.
By the way, just in case anyone is
I think I'd love
unaware,
football if warlocks were involved. That
where
sounds
we're
great.
now talking about warlocks, I don't know if anyone knows this, but it has recently come to light that everyone in the UK has at some point attended Hogwarts.
Oh, what, sorry?
Attended Hogwarts.
We have all gone to Hogwarts.
Have we?
Yes.
Was I asleep?
No, because now if you ever deny this, they will just say that you're lying.
Right.
You are just lying. We are all, students of witchcraft and wizardry.
Excellent.
Personally, I didn't go to Hogwarts. I went to the Unseen University, but
I promise you, I'm not Snape and Hagrid's love Charles. That never happened.
You can't prove it. You can't prove it.
That is just a rumour.
Yeah, that is just a rumour. We've
But
lots of evidence to support
Yeah,
it.
It is
oh,
also a fact that we have all at some
Google
point.
that one.
We have all at some point gone to Hogwarts.
Okay.
But you know, some Americans actually do think that we all go to.
Oh yes, but Americans believe anything, don't they? Do you remember when Vodafone did that advert for the time of the Royal Wedding, and they got everybody sort of coming in, sort of doing funny dances. They had like Prince Charles break dancing, everything like that. And
Wow, man, I didn't know Prince Charles could break
no,
dance.
but the thing is, but they did this advert, and apparently there was some Americans believed it was the real footage. Link in the show notes. So, Mexico's self-proclaimed Grand Warlock has predicted to host Brazil will win the World Cup, and the violent protests will continue during the month-long event. Now, as predictions go, you're always going to say the host nation will win it because they actually, odds are they do, because it's quite common for the host nation to win it. Secondly, it's football. Of course, they're going to be violent protests afterwards.
Yeah,
It happens. It's football. It's an excuse to watch a game and beat the crap out of each other.
yeah, pretty much throw coffee over
Games
someone,
Workshop.
rip up a stadium.
Did you know Games Workshop based the orcs on football hooligans?
That makes sense. It's fantasy football.
Yeah, exactly.
Blood Bowl.
They claim video games are violent and cause people go mental, but have they watched a football game after month? No, then they surely should.
In fairness, everything drives people nuts, and just people are violent.
Yeah.
Except me.
He also
Really
claimed that the battle between football teams it won't just be a battle between football teams, but also a magical war between sorcerers trying to influence results. He said the first game against Cameroon in the 45-seater Arena das Dunas in Natal on June the 30th.
I mean, I know Kenny Dalglish has been called a lot of things, but a sorcerer, come on, you know,
Apparently-
careful.
Apparently
If you
there'll
win
be
this mystical battle, then just don't tell the other motherfuckers what you're trying to influence.
apparently there's 3,000 warlocks that have paid to be there in the stadium, so they'll need to counterbalance the situation by saying other warlocks, presumably.
I was gonna say, last time.
It's like, what, so it's going to be just warlocks watching football from now on.
Where's this taking place?
Brazil.
Right, Brazil. So them warlocks are fucked.
Home of Blanca, Street Fighter 2.
So Brazil's going to right. So Brazil is going to ring, and all things have been made so that it can be that way. I'm going to tell you something now. Watch out for social disturbances that will take place in Brazil. They will be strong. Yes, it's a football game. He also performed rituals to protect Mexico's team during the World Cup. Mexico will play Brazil on June 17th.
Good job.
So yeah, so warlocks fighting, great.
Warlocks obviously don't understand football or humanity, really.
Oh, like, do you remember the very last one of the last cutscenes in Thief Deadly Shadows, where all the keepers start getting that sort of magical battle against the hag?
Oh, right, yes.
Yeah, that's what I want to see this fight between the warlocks be like, with those people just all stand, just showing sort of fireballs.
It's just going to be laughed. They're just going to be throwing beanbags at each other.
Yeah, fireballs. Oh dear. I want to skip the wall because that's
And then
shit.
they're
I
all
don't
going to be
like
hitting the
doing
floor
that.
like the footballers and going, I've hurt myself.
Now, Luke, you won't. We've actually discussed in the past plumbing blockages.
Actually, no, sorry, I just had to jump in there and just
Yeah.
it made me think of Discworld. Wizards playing football.
Yeah.
Throwing
I've
things
seen
around,
that.
yeah.
You once trained to be a plumber,
Mhm.
and we've talked about blockages in the
That's
past.
a little bit more information.
Yeah.
Find that out.
We talked about blockages caused by jellyfish in nuclear power stations.
Yeah, that was a good one. Good job.
So, when a group of plumbers got caught at upmarket London estate agents to block their toilets, what do you think they found?
Probably my latest murder victim.
No, they found that there was a large amount of condoms blocking the plumbing the glazed toilet.
Damn.
So, obviously, you're the head honcho of this company. You got the plumbers to come to you and said, right, we've been in the ladies' toilets, we found the problem, it's a load of condoms are blocked at the toilet. And your head honcho, your first response is, what's your first thing you decide to do? Do you A, very quietly speak to your members of staff, discuss it, or B, do you send a company-wide email?
Full of lols. Company-wide email.
Yes, that's exactly what the chap
Announce it
did.
over the damn PA.
You go
Hey, yo,
down
people.
you go to
Dude,
the
would-
gents toilet.
Would you like
go
to hear
the
the email?
You go
One
to
second.
the Microsoft condom machine and you go, condom machine, turn off.
Look, I don't know where all this talk of mystical condoms and warlocks and all that other witchcraft comes from, okay? Because I've told you how children are made.
Two people
Alright.
meet up and they're born.
Exactly.
And then warlocks stuff toilets full of condoms to disrupt football games.
Yeah.
And the cycle continues.
This is the message he sent out. After 7 hours, Pimlico plumbers have established the cause of the problem. Unfortunately, the blockage was caused by a build-up of used condoms. Obviously, such activity should not be taking place in the office. It costs a lot to fix too, something which the estate agent at the moment can ill afford. I mean, estate agents, come on, guys. As well as being extremely inconvenient to have the toilets at both loops out of order for an entire day, this is now costing us a considerable amount of money.
What are novelty condoms?
Please can we be considerate to the ancient Sloane Street plumbing going forward? And the great thing is, do you know what company this was? Savills. They are quite a well-known upmarket estate agents in the UK.
Can I just say that you always know the folks that are really up their own asses are usually the ones doing something dodgy or doing something dirty.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I love this. Basically, it took all of 10 minutes for this email to be sent out. Then they got followed on to every other news agency out there in the country.
Good old internet.
Rock on interwebs.
Good old interweb. You've probably heard, we're talking about plague, as we were speaking about earlier.
Yeah, because I'm dying.
You've heard about, now, have you got the deadly Mears virus?
I have no idea. What's that got to do with the space station?
If you read too much Twilight, that's what it is.
Yeah. Mears virus is it's related to SARS.
Too much.
Do you remember when everybody went crazy of the SARS virus a few years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, basically Mears is related. And it's been
We're gonna get
linked, and well, it's come from Saudi Arabia, and it's been linked to camels. So people wanted to prove camels are safe. What have they been doing to the camels? Oh, he's yawning.
I don't want to know.
Sure? They've been kissing them. So they've been kissing the camels to try and prove it. There's this video of this chap going to a care of camels, he goes up to a camel and asks it to sneeze. Look at me, sneeze, sneeze. They say coroner's in this, the man says, while hugging, kissing his 2 camels. He then shakes one of the camels' heads and says, she says no. Is there coroner in you? She says no. To be fair, camels can't speak. And to be fair, if they were carrying a deadly disease, I don't think they'd advertise it.
One question, was he a warlock?
No.
Yeah, random Looney Tune starts talking to his camels. Like,
yeah.
gonna...
Basically, look, if you want an excuse to kiss camels...
Look, if you want to find out whether a camel's got a virus, just stick a name into Google and all the information will come up.
Yeah. If you want to kiss camels, there's nothing stopping you. I don't think it's illegal, as far as I'm aware, to kiss a camel. Maybe not in this country. I don't know about other countries.
That'd be funny if it was deemed legal to kiss a camel.
I've seen plenty of people that look like camels.
We've got camels in this country. I don't know. Yeah, we do. We've never been to a zoo. They have camels.
Zoo don't count, hippie.
So I don't think so. If you want to kiss camels,
I think it's the alpacas setting the camels up.
Probably.
Yeah.
If you want to kiss camels, just go ahead. You don't need an excuse to do it, and you don't need to try and justify it by saying that you're trying to prove there's no virus in them. And besides, how upset will you be when in a few weeks' time you count down with said virus, and you'll go, "Damn it, they were correct."
What would be funny?
SexyCamelsForYou.com.
Oh my god, that will become a thing now. You know that. Now you've said it, it will become a thing. No, I was just thinking it would just be funny if the camel did sneeze or spit or whatever, and then the dude started turning green. I'd be like,
we all start turning into camels.
The video just says, "Come sneeze at me." This is the second version he did. The first version, he wants to sneeze at me, and he goes, "Psh," and he goes, "My eyes, my face is burning. It burns. Birds are."
The actual dude that actually did that, the guy that they had in the report, is actually the second guy. The first one died.
Yeah, the first one was just sort of like if you look carefully, you'll just see like the edge of his foot in shot.
That second guy's been wheeled off by now already.
Made me think of Dennis Nedry. Now we know what camels are descended from.
Yeah.
Bile-spitting dinosaurs.
Indeed. Luke.
Yeah.
Luke. I know you're looking for a new place to live. You're looking at buying a house.
Yeah.
Yes, I've found something.
Have you found me another drug den?
No, I've not found a drug den. I've not found a nuclear bunker. But I have found you an entire Devonshire seaside village. Someone,
is it underwater?
No, someone is selling an entire village for 11.5 million. It's called Bantam near Kingsbridge. They were told last year by Evans Estates, who owns all the lands and buildings, that the village is to be sold. So it's a private one estate by a family for several generations. Expect to go on sale with an asking price of 11.5 million. Apparently they've received interest from around the world.
I will get my checkbook and then evict everyone.
Yep. It has 70 acres of land, 40 homes, a pub, a harbour and a shop. Apparently local residents have raised concerns about the future. I just want Kim Jong-un to
Yeah,
buy it.
I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah, it's like his little sort of village away from home.
His holiday village, yeah.
Kim.
Holiday village on Southie here, buddy.
They're hoping the National Trust will buy it, and the National Trust said they are aware of the estate.
Well, that basically means just look, we don't care.
No, we really don't give a damn about you. I'm sorry. Apparently, they're actively discussing the role. This National Trust apparently actively discussing what role it could play in helping to protect the area from future development, but we need a significant fundraising to appeal to buy it. I'd love to see National Trust trying to do a fundraising appeal. Help us raise 1.5 million to buy a village.
No,
not going to do it. Now, if you were ordering, let's say you're a National Rail Company, and you're ordering 2,000 new trains, and it's going to cost you about 15 billion euros, which is about 12.1 billion pounds. What things do you think are worth considering before you do this?
Are they coming from North Korea?
Yeah, well, something to worry about. But let's say they found a local supplier. What things would you think are important to tell them or make sure you get correct?
Not all of the specs of what you want.
Yeah. Would you say making sure the trains fit past the platforms would be a good idea?
That'd be nice.
Yeah, well, the French didn't do that. They ordered 2,000 trains and found they're too wide for many of their platforms.
Oh, dear.
They're having to. There's a massive blunder, and it's going to cost them over 50 million euros to correct by making the platforms thinner.
Good job.
Apparently, the problem is that they used measurements from platforms built 30 years ago, not taking into fact how the older platforms were longer than that. There's over 1,000 platforms to be adjusted.
Oh, God.
More
jobs.
They did say they confirmed that they discovered the problem a bit late. Like after they built the train.
Never.
As errors go, that's a quite big one. I was personally saying the opposite there and thought, what size train? Let's just have a quick giggle. Oh well, that one says it's that wide. Oh, they must all be that wide.
I like that one. It's a blue one.
Yeah, they must all be that wide. They can't have changed that much in the last 50 years. Good old person.
Good old person.
On to shoving news. Have you been to hospital? You've been to hospital. Have you ever been to hospital with constipation?
Not that I'm aware.
No, you?
Unfortunately not, no.
Unfortunately not.
Well, you never know.
Must be an
Do you really want to go? Well, I'll pass you on this woman's email address then.
Well, there's one way to find out. Google it, and then you'll know what.
Now I am curious. What the hell? Pass on this woman's email. What?
A man suffering from constipation turned out to have a running vibrator stuck in his large intestines. Is this
the same woman that was...
No, it's not the same one. I know what you're thinking of.
The one where the place was likely to burn down.
Yeah, I know what you think of. No, it isn't. Apparently doing sex play with his wife, they sort of pushed it a bit too far, got a bit too enthusiastic, and it went inside him. So, yeah, if you want to talk about constipation, I'll give you her email address.
Just stick a dildo in there and you're sorted, yeah.
Yeah, he went in, he's asked to remain anonymous. I can't think why. Actually, let's ask our friend to find him for us. He seems to be off on our slot, so I'm sure you can find this chap.
If you type that into the internet, you're going to get somebody.
He's been told to...
You're going to find a lot of people.
Yeah, he was allowed
Probably
to
a lot of people in politics as well.
He was refresh the comments, because I'm not entirely sure if the comment section is frozen.
Let's have a look. 169. No, nothing new. You're being mysterious. Look, you're well hidden.
Good.
He was allowed to tell doctors why he was in discomfort when he was visiting the hospital in California. Of course, it's America. They X-rayed it, and it became apparent they had something strange in his. Something strange in the bedroom. Apparently, it's the first time someone's encountered a running device. That's the worst thing. Is that he was running. So the whole time he was driving there, I don't know what noise a vibrator makes. I'm assuming it's
yes, like a jack.
It's basically isn't like a Black and Decker. I don't know. I don't want any. No. I was going to say.
Google it.
I'm not going to. Yeah. Apparently, it got stuck. As he said, it got stuck after they got adventurous. Yeah. He could have suffered. Right, if it hadn't been removed, he might have suffered a number of problems, including internal bleeding. I would have thought so.
That would have been a really funny obituary.
Yeah, man died of internal bleeding.
I'm just like imagining the scene from Aliens, but like a fucking dildo popping out. Like, bloody hell, what's that?
Oh no, it's a black mamba. Finally, I'm not sure how much material we'll get out of this. We might have to edit this out in the proper version.
It's live!
When you do the audio version, you can edit. This is the rough cut.
The rough cut.
Yeah.
Definitely rough.
We're talking about things happening by 2020, and I think this might be something we could perhaps integrate into computer gaming.
I still think we're going to have haptic suits, but
there's a campaign to stop killer robots. Have you heard about this? Basically, it's a group of multi-company, 51 organisations, 24 countries are meeting in Geneva to discuss banning killer robots before they become a thing.
Someone's been watching a little bit too much Terminator.
Yes.
If they'd have watched Terminator, they'd have realised the whole thing completely failed.
Well, they say they want an international treaty banning the research development of robots before technology moves too far forward.
Is it anything
Can I
to do
just
with
point
that
something
turret
out?
that was created? Because there's a turret that can be remote.
Samsung have a turret. Samsung have a turret that's fully automated. They
Good job.
Have you found you out?
No.
Oh.
No.
The make.
Oh.
Just go.
Oh, sorry.
Before I disconnect the internet.
You threw me off then. You just went, good job pointing at the camera. I thought you were saying to our friend, well done, he found you.
No, I'm thinking, good job, Samsung.
Yeah, no, I couldn't. Is it Samsung or Toshiba, one of the two? I couldn't believe it. Somebody's actually made the turret from Aliens. It's amazing. Brilliant.
If you told me Aperture Science were up to something, I'd be like, well, I'd never come a thing.
Yeah. But the thing is, why I just had to argue about this, they say about banning killer robots, but isn't a cruise missile technically a robot? You know, it's autonomous. It thinks for itself. You set on its target, off it goes. It knows what it's doing. Isn't that that's technically a robot? And could you not argue even anything that's sort of got a guidance system, sort of thinks for itself, is technically a robot? So I think actually it's a bit late.
It's a bit late. We've already got killer machines out there.
They've decided that there's deficiencies in judgment, compassion, and capacity to identify with human beings could lead to an arbitrary killing of civilians during law enforcement or alarmed conflict operations. Presumably, they're thinking that the software is made by Microsoft.
Okay, I'm going to ban
Kill a robot.
people.
Off.
Off of his head. Off.
Kill a robot. Destroy humanity.
I'm banning these people from the crayon box.
Yeah.
Windows is encountered an error.
This sound like the start of an 80s science fiction film. Robots could not be punished by superior officers. Programs and manufacturers would be all like to escape liability. I love that they could not be punished. You punish them by switching them off and putting them to the
On the naughty
scrapyard.
step with you.
Yeah, I would imagine in the 80s, some sort of dark sort of 80s sci-fi, like sort of Blade Runner S intro, where they say, but they create this government also create these killer robots to go and do things, and they tried to read them and found that robots could not be punished. Just sounds like they said
Go out of bed with no tea.
They basically their main things seem to be about comprehending or respecting the inherent dignity of human beings. Right, for starters, about dignity, I've just told a story about a man who had a vibrator strapped to his backside. I don't think dignity, if that's an inherent dignity.
Does that count as a robot?
It does. Yes, inherent dignity in human beings. A vibrator shoved at the bottom. That's not dignified.
Tough shit.
So, yeah. We're more worried rather than killer robots.
And kissing camels. We've had kissing camels. That's not dignified. Sex and lawyers officer, estate agent toilets.
I'm saying lawyer. Fuck, they've gone up.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to have sex anywhere, not in a estate agent's office.
So basically, what you're trying to tell us is, out of the whole of Weird News, the most dignified people are the warlocks. Go warlocks.
Yeah, go warlocks. They're dignified.
You won't catch them kissing camels and shoving things up their ass.
They are football hooligans.
Maybe the warlocks are killer robots.
Aha. Wizard-powered robots. It's War Machine, isn't it?
We're going to have to end up going to Brazil now on our way to North Korea.
Yeah. What, to find the warlocks?
Yeah. I have to stop off and just figure this stuff out.
Plus, you get into
maybe the warlocks will fight the killer robots.
This is turned to one awesome film.
Yeah.
Warlocks v robots. Well, they had Cowboys versus Aliens. Let's have Warlocks versus robots.
Brazilian warlocks versus robots. That'd make great budget movie.
It's
terrifying.
I want that film. Sci-Fi Channel, get on it.
I'll start shooting it tomorrow.
Fantastic, good. Right, we've actually sort of limped towards the end of a podcast, believe it or
Thank
not.
God, because I missed about 10 minutes of the damn thing, and it's now 3 hours long.
Is it really?
Yeah, so God knows how.
Oh.
3 hours 7.
Oh God, and they managed to keep with us all this time. You've got some editing to do.
Bless you, God.
We'll see.
All right.
I'm falling asleep here. So.
Where to find us?
I did wonder why you were deep throating the microphone. I did wonder why you were deep throating the Linford Christie.
Yeah. I've got to explain it to our viewer what the Who Lived with Chris is and what the joke is. I'm going to put a post. I'll put a post up later.
Well, I really don't think that's necessary.
No, I have. Once I've shot the photo up, you'll understand why.
Linford Christie's going to be googling himself now. He's going to find this and just go, "What? What's going on? Like, what are you saying? That ain't on."
So, where can you find us? Well, obviously on YouTube. At youtube.com/randnerds. You can find our website, randnerds.com. You can Twitter us on Twitter at randnerds. You can find us on Google Plus at plus.google.com/plusrandnerds. It's really awkward URL Google Plus has. It's annoying. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/randnerds. We've also got a Steam community. If you've got Steam, you just search for Rand Nerds, or if you want, you can do it on the website, on the internet web, steamcommunity.com/group/Rand Nerds. If you want to email us with any questions or if you want to speak about the next podcast, game ideas, stuff I can blow Luke's mind with, social security details, money, anything really, anything that might help, you can email us at randnerd@gmail.com. Right.
We can now officially say that if there is there's no comeback on the extra information I gave.
Apparently that's not worked. So, but once again, we thank our dedicated viewer for coming in. We look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks.
Sorry for blowing people's ears in this.
Apologies for the technical issues. We'll once this podcast ends, we'll get the whip sound start flogging Luke for failing us. Because we are taking the Kim Jong-un approach to discipline.
I was going to say, what are you setting up a fucking dominatrix session right now?
No.
You won't be going to hospital with foreign objects lodging.
No. Not on the backside anyway. I don't know what
the hell was that about you, psych? Leaving that one in?
I don't know how I was going with that.
Well, the idea isn't to leave it in. You've got to have it removed.
Might cause internal bleeding.
Yeah, it might pop out the other end.
Yeah.
Aliens backwards.
So, thank you very much for staying with us, for viewing us again, and watching us again, and sticking with us for the last 3 hours. Apologies for any problems. We look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks' time.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Good job. Take it easy, all. Yay!
Yay! You're going to end it now. You're just going to sit there still.
Just going to sit here.
Yeah, I'm going to stay here for the rest of the night. Where's the button? Oh no!
We're stuck.
There it is.
There it is.
Oh no!